Uplift off. Sup, everybody? This is Carrick with ACG, and I'm here with Johnny from Johnny Plays Live. You know what I was thinking, dude? Whenever you record stuff, did you change your YouTube channel to like indicate that those were videos versus you playing live? Did you ever get anybody seeing you play 6 hours and thinking you were like actually doing it? Did you do an intro to those videos? I don't even remember.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, but yeah, I just never overthought the plays live. The thing is, Johnny is taken, right? Everywhere. Even the way I write it differently. So I needed something extra to make it unique. So the plays live is just, it's free everywhere. Yeah. So it works.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Carrick's taken a lot of places too, weirdly enough.
Is it?
Yeah. Especially, I didn't know anybody was named Carrick. I'm not named Carrick. That was a username I took. But last year I was at Hewlett Packard. Somebody showed up and went over to introduce myself, and I was like, "I am Jeremy." I was like, "I'm Carrick," and I was like, "What the fuck? What?
Whoa.
Like, who's named Carrick?" Yeah, it's just an odd. And then I found out that it's like there's a couple people who actually hate their kids. Sup, everybody? Thank you very much for joining us. We're going to be talking about Johnny Sins Live. Yeah, dude, that's awesome. We're going to be talking about Vampire 2. The reviews came out for that. What a debacle with the review system. And now we'll talk about it. Jesus. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Keeper. We're going to talk about a little bit about Arc Raiders, see if anybody's playing that. The Server Smash, Server Slam, whatever that's called. It's just a fake name for another beta. And then let's see, what else? We have a bunch of stuff. I saw a bunch of, we'll get to it. Fucking whatever. You guys know us. We're super well planned on these. These are incredibly efficient podcasts. So it's just like boom, boom. What about Carrick Gold? Carrick Gold is just, it's a nude statue of me with gold foil, and it's all chocolate on the inside. So yeah, if you guys want one, you can get one. It's $599. No, what's the cost of an Xbox Series X or PlayStation? What are they now? $599?
Yeah, around there.
Yeah, so $599. So you can get one for the
golden patron tier.
Yeah, golden patron tier, $599. No, speaking of that, I appreciate everybody new jumping into the patron. It's been helpful. We've had a good time. This last 3 weeks, we've been doing voice chat religiously. 20, 30 people jumping in there. We just finished up The Quarry. We finished up Casting of Frank Stone. We did some Indigo Prophecy yesterday. That was sort of a mind fuck to go from those two games to Indigo Prophecy, because Indigo Prophecy is an old game, old, and it's a 3D adventure style game. It's not, you're like, it's not well put together. I'll just say that. And holy shit, man, watching Amutski try to control this character, and it was late, so he was tired, but watching him try to control the character was rough. He was just having all kinds of issues, and I had forgot, like how ancient that game is. Did you ever do that one? Indigo Prophecy. It was also called Fahrenheit.
No.
When it came out? Okay. David Cage.
Wait.
David
no,
Cage.
I did. I watched Silver play it, funny enough.
Did you?
He was streaming that some time ago, yeah.
Yeah, Silver's love for David Cage. I'm sure that was a fun stream. Oh, by the way, Silver was ill today, so he won't be in, unfortunately, but we'll try to, we'll try to keep it eclectic. We'll try to keep it sophisticated. You guys know us. We're usually able to anyway. I mean, that's just
represent him.
Yeah, we want to make sure, because he's truly the showrunner. So we want to make sure that we, hold ourselves up to his super high standard. Let's see, what else do we got? Oh, the monster drink I grabbed was Ultra Peachy Keen. It's actually not bad. This will be my fourth, so maybe it is bad. I was going to
say, you don't seem like the peachy kind of guy.
I am not.
Yeah.
I found out this is the only one, and it's probably because super tart, like lemonade, is mixed in with it, I guess you would say. Something like that. Super citrusy.
Like sour, maybe?
Yeah, a little sour, yeah. I'm definitely a fan of sour. You know me, and like Sour Patch Kids and all that kind of stuff. I like to take a bite out of crime. I love the sour, like the super sour stuff, but drinking it, probably not. Like if you had a Sour Patch drink, that'd be that'd be nasty.
Halfway in, you're like just gasping for breath. Halfway in,
you're full out. Yeah, dude, a Sour Patch drink would be some rough shit to imbibe. You'd be like, damn, I can't. Speaking of imbibing rough shit, vampires, man, did you see those reviews?
Yeah.
So first of all, I want to point a couple things out. Somebody's going to say they're variable. No, they're not. If you actually look at the reviews, and I did the numbers on this, it's actually not variable in the scores. It's that both the high and the low drop by 2 points. So people were like, oh, it's variable. The scores are everywhere. They're all over the place. No, actually, scores are all over the place on every single game, depending on how many reviews you have. But this went from 10s, which a lot of games get, to getting no 10s. It went to 8s to 3s. So instead of 5,
your highest
to 10
is at 8 or 7.
Yeah. And it's pretty much a debacle, man. I worked to get a code and got a code and was told an embargo and was getting ready to get all set up for the weekend. And then they're like, reviews are live. And I was like, what do you mean reviews are live, man? My embargo says it's like next week. Found out it was one of the bullshit ass double stream embargoes where like only some people, it sounded like journalists, but that doesn't make any sense because there's also they do videos. And I'm like, well, I have a website. I have 3 websites and I have the YouTube. Does that not make you press as well? Because I actually have press stuff too. I don't know. One of those things. I hate that shit.
Magical categories where like,
so
you're just on the shit list?
I guess so. Like, it was weird. I mean, I hate the Split. I think Split is pretty diabolical because then you really have to start wondering what's going on. It's like, that sounds weird. Did you see some of the reviews for Vampire 2?
Not even. No. I just look at the scores. They were so low. It's crazy.
Yeah. Not only are they low, they're not as buggy. It's that it's disappointing. So when the first one came out, so that everybody remembers, the first one was not good at all. It had all kinds of problems. It also had missing systems. It also had all kinds of issues. People like to golden path that back to a memory that is fake. And they're like, this is the greatest game of all time, day one. Absolutely wasn't. It was a fan patch, in fact, that lit that back on. It was very unpopular until a fan community patch made by a couple people in the community who absolutely rocked it. They kicked ass. They did an amazing job on a community patch, and that caused people to jump back into Vampire, and that sort of exploded its popularity after its initial really rough run. It was in rough shape. And so this one, though, might be in worse shape because it's not bugs. I've seen people say there were crashes and stuff, and I've seen some performance issues, but it's not even in the bailiwick of what the last one was. It's that it's disappointing. And that sucked to read because I think it's a lot harder to fix that, right? Like it's a lot harder. And I'm ignoring the people who are like, I was old enough to play Vampires 1 and blah, 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 because that doesn't matter. Like many of us, including myself, I didn't play day 1 because I was too young. Most of the people even we're talking to weren't going to be old enough to play it day 1, the original. So that kind of stuff doesn't really make sense anyway. Gaming was different. We're talking about a game today asking for a certain amount of money today and what it does for us today. And it doesn't do much. It seems like yeah,
that's a shame.
It is. And I'm still going to play it. I want to play it. I'm excited for it, but like the stuff they're talking about, which is like side quests don't matter, or they're barely there. It's pretty linear. It's not really a great immersive sim, nor is it a great RPG. It sort of doesn't know which side to be on. I can bring up some of the discussion I saw, but it really hit me hard, man, because I was, I love myself a good, supernatural game of any kind, whether it be vampires, werewolves, ghosts, goblins, ghouls.
I'm also a little confused by the release date because it says here it's the 21st.
That's when my embargo breaks too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not fully out yet.
Right. Yeah, it looks
right. Okay.
These are just the reviews. Yeah. But it's one of those things where, man, we're looking at it now, and you have to. I mean, I'm not saying this was a good or bad release time. I think it was the game is the game, but.
Yep.
With a lot of these other games coming out, I mean, you got like Arc Raiders, Smash. So a person can buy 10 games at one time, but they can't play 10 games, right? And that's what you sort of want, is somebody engaging with your game to continue pushing it forward. And it feels like this is a rough time because you're coming off a Battlefield, which sold a bunch. We'll talk about that. You're coming into Call of Duty, which weirdly enough went from, I think, meandering for a lot of people to actually, I'm actually interested in this now. You have Outer Worlds, which is huge, or at least it's looking to be huge when I'm looking at SEO and looking at like who's talking about it, how many people are talking about what they're talking about. Outer Worlds actually looks like it's going to be really big. So it's like
Yep.
And then the thousands of other games.
And Ghost is still around. You know, a lot of us still playing that too.
Ghost? Oh, Ghost of Yotai. Yotai, yeah, yep, absolutely, absolutely correct. Yeah, true. I hadn't even thought
There's
about
a lot
that.
going on. It's tough for a game that's kind of middling right now because it just won't get many people playing.
Yeah, dude, I don't know, man. I think the release dates, if I were some of these guys, I certainly would be looking at some delays on some of these games if they have any questions on positioning.
I think the time frame is actually great because it's the Halloween.
Yes, yeah, for this game.
So so if you were looking for a spooky / Halloween game, this technically could be a great fit.
Could have been. I don't know if I would say it could. Yeah, I mean, because there's a lot of horror games too. The something tapes that just came out a couple days ago. It's a found footage. Oh man, Gatlov, I think is what it's called. The Gatlov tapes got good reviews or pretty good reviews, and that's a found footage. There's a lot of horror games out there that I think could steal it. But let me read you guys some quotes. CNET says, across the board, Bloodlines 2 is just a disappointment. It should be oozing with style and gothic vibes that make you want to paint your fingernails black and put on some Chemical Romance.
Okay, that's good.
I feel dirty. Do you? Because I actually feel dirty for even reading that. Instead, it's just the same thing over and over again.
I kind of related to that outside of the nails part.
Outside, okay, that might have been the part I didn't relate to. Dextro says Bloodlines 2 isn't your typical RPG. It tells a great and complex story about taking you on an adventure where every choice you make affects the narrative inside a city that feels alive. However, could have done so much more to live up to its predecessor. So scratch that last sentence, but the rest of it, that person seemed to like it too. 3 out of 5. Eurogamer gave it a 2 out of 5. The Chinese Room has managed to make something from a box of inherited parts, but this action RPG feels hollow and functional and is only redeemed by some stellar performances from the characters and cast. That's oddly enough, that's weirdly positive in some ways for me because I'm a big voice fan. So like that's actually sort of positive, even though the 2 out of 5 is rough from Eurogamer. Listen to this one, Game Sandwich. By the way, when I make this look on my face, it's not because I dislike a person. It's because I don't know who they are. That was a weird name. And I'm sure they do the same thing for Angry Centaur. Yeah. Right, yeah. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 is a sequel to an amazing game. It's full of life where everything felt meaningful and the design felt purposeful. Unfortunately, okay, see, that's incorrect, man. That is actually not true because that is a review of the fan patch. Anyway, unfortunately, anything that its highly regarded predecessor has been stripped away here and replaced with a generic combat system, a story that tries too hard to be the next big crime drama in the world. Very few benefits outweigh the negatives that have befallen the fictional version of Seattle. Game Grin, well, they talk about it a different way. Whilst many fans of the original may not like the stark difference between the two titles, Bloodlines 2 is still an engaging vampire tale. GameSpot, 7 out of 10. Although Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 isn't particularly ambitious or polished, it makes up for its faults with enthralling gameplay, gorgeous environments, and good story. The divergent part is that some people are saying terrible gameplay and nothing happens in the world. Yeah,
and then or generic story too, and other people liked it.
Yeah. I guess that's always with story, right? Story's such a difficult one for people to agree with. It's all over the place. Loot Level Chill. Okay, another one. Vampire the I get it. Netflix and Chill. It's a ripoff. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 will certainly appeal to the diehard fans of its world thanks to the story. Unfortunately, though, it commits the cardinal sin of simply not being fun.
Oh.
PC Games N, 5 out of 10. This will be the last one I read. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 fails to recapture the original's magic, instead magnifying the worst parts of the classic. That doesn't make any sense. But I mean, again, this is all completely not whatever. Well, let's read a good one that actually talks about today for people who are actually buying a game today and aren't 70 years old and supposedly remember the day the game
Everything
came out.
Is always compared to.
I hate that shit.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. This one does talk about it, but I think they do a pretty good job. The Sixth Axis, 7 out of 10. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 is a good game, but one that's held back by the expectations of being a sequel. So it's held back if you have those expectations. If you can step away from the baggage of the title, there's a lot here to enjoy in terms of narrative and atmosphere, though the combat is too repetitive. So I think we saw a bunch of combat in there.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
That last one sounds much more measured, by the way, and is what I would expect like myself to experience.
Right.
If the story is like kind of cool but not extraordinary, it's got some nice voice acting. It looks pretty good overall. I think I'd have a decent time with it, just kind of looking at the footage here.
Yeah.
Because I don't have those lofty expectations of having played the original myself.
Right.
I've heard a bunch about it, but I haven't, played it. So I don't have all the legendary like quest lines and stuff in my head to compare to. I think it seems like it's mostly coming from that disappointment of the comparison point.
Yeah. Brent Locke says something that I would agree with. I tried to play Vampire the Masquerade 6 times before installing the community patch. It never worked. After that patch, God, it's good. Yeah. That is pretty much exactly where it is. So I would say, am I being unfair about the comparisons? I could be, but we are talking about 4.5 generations ago for that game. So, at some point, it is what it is. Entire ways in which games are made and what gamers' expectations are different. And additionally, if we're comparing it to the day one of the original game, these scores are already better. Or I think if you got both of them and put them together, it would still be better.
Without the mods and the fixes
that game,
and stuff.
Dude, I'm telling you, as somebody who was playing Werewolf and Vampire at the time the game came out, I can tell you that game was unrecoverable. It did not, and it took a team of people to patch that fucking thing. And kudos to that guy who patched it. Guys, gals, everybody. Kudos to everybody who patched it, because they're the ones who got it up and running. But sitting here and being like, I mean, you could say they're the ones who chose the name. That's true. It is true. They chose, they could have called it Vampire something else and not, Masquerade or whatever. But that is what it is. But I mean, at some point, dude, it's a game from 9,000 years ago. So, I mean, how far do we go back for comparisons? It'd be like, it's almost as good as those cave scrapings in a wall from 20,000 years ago. You're like, you don't see people comparing Bob Ross to a fucking cave painting. I don't know. It's like after a while, it's just like, what are we getting right now? All I care about is right now. Is it good now?
Well, it's also tough because a lot of people are comparing to what their memory of the game is, which we know how unreliable it is, especially the further back you go. You're
rewriting the memory all the time.
Yeah, you're rewriting it, and I just don't think it's totally fair. But with that said, it sounds like despite the solid voice acting, it's just not very good. I think even the people who were fairly positive on it didn't particularly
like it,
find it memorable, which I think is fair. And
it is because, dude, I think it's actually very cool that you see the scores go down 2 and 2. Like the moment I saw the scores, I was like, oh, interesting. Like it never got, so far it hasn't got a 10. There will be one. We know there will be one, and there will be a 0 or something. We know there will. But when you look at those scores, they both shifted exactly 2 points down. And it's like, okay, that is actually fair. That means the people who even liked it, they still, it didn't capture the magic that a bad game sometimes captures. And you get a 10 for a weird game where you're like, that got a 10? Really? Instead, it seems to be that the core issues, other than some people arguing about story, which I think is very fair. We all feel stories differently. I think it's fair. Yeah. It's too bad too, because I did want that game to be good. Ignoring that the first one came out, I played Vampire and wanted it to be good. I just like vampires. I think vampires are fun characters to be. I like them. I like the morality of them, especially if you try to be good, or if you decide not to be good. That ability to do that, Vampire was so great on that. Rocky says Vampire the Masquerade 7000 BC. Yeah, exactly. I mean, speaking of that, I got to pay the PAX. How would you say that? 117? I don't know how they say it. 117 or 117. The Ubisoft. I got to play that. The city builder. Dude, I sort of dug it, man. I sort of dug it. Not like, man, I can't wait to play it when it comes out fully. But I got to spend some time with the preview code all week, and they added diagonal building sets, which sounds weird because it's a small thing, but it actually felt good in this. There was some jankiness to it, but it was sort of a sedate city builder, one of those games where like if you don't have fish for over here, you can't grind them up for oil to build this over here, everything's connected kind of thing. City builder.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those where you're just like, oh my god. But they did something really cool. Other games have done this. I just want to point out that they did it. One of the things that's nice is when you run out of resources at your local area, so you put a sawmill down or you put a woodcutter down. When they run out of resources in that area, you can move the actual building. And that costs you a little bit, but you can move the building instead of destroying it. And I was destroying it for the first like hour of the game. I was like, boom, destroy it, build another one. And then I went into another menu and it was like, demolish, turn it, 3D, face it a different way. And then one of them was move. And I was like, oh shit.
That's so nice.
Move. Yeah, it was cool.
Because how often you plan it out, it seems great in your mind, but then later you find you were just like off of where you needed to be to fit another building or whatever.
Yeah. And I think we've all built a city that is like, underground sewers. It's just like terribly built. They don't make sense. Your roads are way too far away, so your guy's going like a mile up to go left to go down to and you don't put through thoroughfares through. You don't put alleys through it, and you're just like, oh my god,
sure.
You're just putting all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was enjoyable to actually play and ran spectacularly well, which was nice. Like I was actually surprised how well it ran. And you can zoom way in, which is always fun. It sounds weird, but in a city game, man, I don't like it when they restrict the view. When you try to zoom in.
No, I like to be able to see and like see people moving and stuff.
And carrying shit and moving wagons and stuff like that. Like to me, that's half of the fun is be like an anthill, magnifying glass, not to light them on fire,
when you
but
set it up.
Yep.
Like watch as it goes.
So that was enjoyable. I'm actually way more interested in that than I thought I was going to be. I was going to be a little interested.
What could you compare it to? Like, is there a game you can compare it to? Like,
and then Anno, any of the Anno game. Yeah, there's a lot about it that's just similar in those ways, and similar to Civilization, except Civilization has become hexified. And it's turn-based, I know that. I'm just describing, it's still a Civilization builder. There's something about that hexification that I'm starting to get a little bit tired of, or maybe, I don't know. There's something about it that isn't always appealing to me. And this one is just a little bit more freeform. It is technically real-time, but you can stop it. You can pause it and issue orders and then start it up again. Oh, that is one thing I noticed. I don't know if there's a way to do this, but it's like pause, play, 2 times, 4 times. Play is pretty fast. So I found that when I was hitting play, I was like, oh my god, I got to move this. It's not like super fast. Maybe I hadn't played a game like this in a while, but it was just fast enough that I was like,
they're like New Yorkers.
They were all, just fucking cussing at each other. What have you been? That's what I've been playing. What have you been playing this week?
I did want to ask you just before that though. Do you have this thing where you start your city and everything is neat and tidy in the core, and then as you branch out radially, it starts to get more and more lazy, where like towards the end, it's just a bunch of stuff together. You got your brewery right next to the, or do you have like...
I reverse it.
Okay.
So because I know later on I'll need more resources faster, if I have a mine, and a mine, I'll build the farthest away because I know the beginning of the game is usually easier on the player. So I'll build the mine the farthest away and take the slow at the start. Then when I need another mine, I build it closer. And then when I need another mine, I build it closer.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So you expand almost inward.
Like... Yeah. Because I sort of treat my guys like settlers or explorers, where some of the guys who are going to pick up iron wouldn't see every single thing like I do. So sometimes if I see a far off one...
They're cursing your name because they're like, dude, why is the mine in Narnia?
Yeah.
I'm going
no shit. Yeah. They're like, Jesus Christ, through a wardrobe, under the ground, through a cavern. Yeah. So in my first playthrough of this, actually, I built the very first mine, not only super far away, but over a small creek. And you can build a bridge, but over a small creek is super far away. And then what happened was, as the game started requiring so much, I was able to build the other mine closer, and the other mine closer. And by the time that was all done, it was just sinking in. So I end up exploding when I need the stuff versus because think about it this way. At the starting, you don't need a ton of resources because you can't build a ton. There's not a bunch of options. There's a guy, a girl, a house, a tannery, a fishing, let's say a fishing dock. So I was like, well, why do I need to worry about getting the quickest stuff if no one's attacking me right now? And this is about building. True. I'm going to start far away. So I started far away on my forest, started far away on the woodcutter, started the sawmill, all that kind, and then I build in. And that way, when there's a ton of options, I have way more stuff than when there's not. I don't know why. Like, it's probably super stupid, but I got to tell you, it works quite well when I'm playing games. Like, it seems to always pay off in the end. But that's probably just gaming the game. But again, back to you. What have you been playing?
Oh, yeah. So I've been playing a bunch of Ghost of Yotei this week. Okay. Just getting into it, unlocking a bunch of stuff. Actually maxed out my Kusarigama. So I got all the skills for it. I got the master skin from the master guy that teaches you. Got everything. And it's insanely powerful in the game. I don't know like how much he used it, but it can clear entire groups of people because it has the area of effect attacks, and they do so much damage and disarm people. Like, it's ridiculous. I just walk in and it's crazy. The NPC is like, oh my god, it's so many of them. I'm like, dude, they're gone. Like, actually, they're just deleted instantly. It's awesome. Yeah, been loving it. And it's cool that so when you kill one of the guys you're after, you scratch their name on your sash, right? With blood or whatever. And you can see that on your character. Like, your character has the sash with the names and everything. Yeah, as you progress. So that's super cool. And just enjoying that, man.
The only thing that I aesthetically bothered me, or I didn't love in Ghost, and I notice it more when I watch people play, is that the armor sets aren't good, medium, great in their look. They're pretty much or awesome. And there was a lot of sets in this game that I felt were way too grandiose and way too ugly or goofy or weird. There's like, I was wearing one for most of my game that was like just a straw fucking, cloak or whatever. I sort of liked it because it made me feel I could sneak better if I was in the grass. I'm saying fictionally in my brain. But then I got one with like a giant mantis on the face, and and it's like 10 inches above the top of your. It was just like, oh, I get it. It was cool, but I noticed there just wasn't a middle ground, man. It was like, and some of them were really ugly in the first like half of the game. I was like, okay, so what I did was I just walked around in the gi. A lot of times I just put the normal clothes on and just walked around in that, or whatever it is, kimono, whatever. I just was like, I'm just going to stick with this because it sort of looks the way I want it to look and doesn't look so just sort of janky, I guess. And I feel like the original game didn't look that janky when it came to the armor sets.
Because a lot of them are kimonos too.
Yes,
which is kind of odd. They are a bit like housewear, something you would wear around the house. It's sort of odd to go on a bender killing people with that.
I felt it made me more badass when you show up in a robe and you're like, you got your little bunny slippers on,
your
and you're
slippers.
like, I'm gonna fuck you up, and they're like, dude, I'm on a horse in full armor, and I'm like, yeah. So are the other 50 guys. Be prepared.
It's like in anime when you're slaying people at 20% power level instead of.
Feels good. But no, I use that weapon. I use the Odachi a lot because, it's just a big samurai sword, which was fun.
And it had has the kicking thing, right? That's super nice. Where
you can kick
on guard, and then you can kick people too.
What I actually liked more was the shoulder shrug, like interrupt, because it's super short, easy. Well, it's not super easy to do because you have to hold and release, which, man, not a big fan, but it still worked in that game. And I thought that was cool. Just be like, boom, boom, pop them to the side. That was fun. Yeah. What else?
So that, a little bit of Hades 2, which is an awesome game. Awesome game. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Excellent. And then this week I went and saw Tron, Ares.
Ooh.
Way better than I thought it was going to be. I'd heard it was like, well, you know how that goes. I'd heard it was terrible. So I'm always okay with movies that whether I hear are amazing or I hear is terrible. I'm like, I don't, I never expect too much from a movie because it's trailers. You never know what it'll be. Super slow first part and poorly edited first part. But then it got into some, without spoiling it, it got into some stuff that I actually appreciated that wasn't in 1 and 2. Because I like 1 and 2 for different reasons. I liked Tron Legacy a lot. I enjoy it as just an action movie. And in a world I actually sort of dig the idea of. There was a lot of conveniences in this one that didn't have to exist in the second one that probably have to exist in this, but that was pretty cheesy. There was some like how do things from Tron get into the real world? They didn't cover that in the second one. She just shows up and they ride off on their motorbike, to have half man, half robot, sexy love. They're just like where she's in the movie, you'll find a way to have sex. You'll figure it out. And then in the third one, there was the creation system to get people from the Tron's ISO land / inside the PC into the real world. That was like, what? What? Like, no matter how many times they tried to explain
tenuous, it,
like, dude, as tenuous as, imagine blowing something up to create something. It's sort of like that. You're just like, dude, what? Like, and that's not what happens, but that's the best example. So I went and saw that.
But if you want to believe hard enough, it works.
Yeah. And hey, Jared Leto, who is a weirdo, did fine. Completely surprised by that. I did not know. I don't dislike or like his acting. I don't see almost anything. I saw Dallas Buyers Club. Saw I've heard his music. Blade Runner. There you go. Blade Runner, which I think he did good in Blade Runner because he was a weirdo and it worked well. In this one, I got to admit, I was genuinely, because of the character, and I'm not going to say much, I was like, I get it. But the reason why I brought it up is, dude, it just reminded me I really want to see a Tron game. Like, I just do.
Yeah.
I would love to see
we had that, was it an
recently.
isometric one?
Yeah. Came and went. I think the company already laid people off. I think it didn't do well. Yeah. So
I think sadly it mostly went rather than
came. But yeah, that is true. Funny. I got you. I got that joke. Let's see what else for that. Okay, so back to Vampire. Nothing else actually. I don't think for Vampire. Now that I think about it.
Okay, but what's your rating for Tron? Is it a full buy?
No, I would say
wait for sale.
I would say it's a little like Keeper for me, where it's a niche of a niche of a niche.
Yeah,
and for
so
those
if it's
people,
for you, boom.
Yeah, if it fits for you, then like it makes sense. But when it comes to the actual, well, like I had somebody in chat who was like, they were like, I disliked it, and I was like, oh, why? And they explained it. I'm like, that doesn't happen in the movie. Like, oh, no, it does for sure. And I'm like, no, it for sure doesn't. So Cadiz, who went with me, I was like, Cadiz, did we miss did we miss something?
On this.
He's like, no, that didn't happen in the movie. That's not even true about what. So I'm like, how many people watched it and said they liked it? Like, there was some weird shit that I saw when I came back to, it was weird. I mean, genuinely completely wrong, and said they saw it. And I was like, okay, I just stopped arguing. I was like, okay, I'm moving on. Like, I have no clue if that's like one of the my console's better than yours kind of thing, and people do that for movies. But yeah, it was genuinely not even close to bad. It was like just a movie that's within a niche of a niche. And my best friend, or another friend who didn't like 1 or 2 and liked this one a lot because it was more. It's very hard to describe it without spoiling anything. There's some metaphysical stuff in it, I guess you would say. And then the one thing about this Tron, and the one thing I was blown away with this Tron in particular, is there is 2 special effects scene in it that are possibly the best thing I've ever seen in my life. And I don't legitimately know how it's going to be topped. It's not Avatar style. It's its own style. But I would say there is a part in the movie, about a halfway through, that I heard people in the audience just going, holy shit. And it's not in the trailers anywhere. It's not a part that you've seen in the trailers. It's not even in a location you've seen in the trailers. And I remember just watching it going, what? That's where the money went. What in the fuck? It was just weird. So,
That's cool.
So I would say definitely not like a buy, more like a, like a wait or matinee, I guess. Is that what they're called? Yeah, matinee.
Matinee.
Carrick loves Tron Ares. Time to cancel them. I didn't even say I love it. I literally just said, dude.
Yeah, no.
Here we go, Zelda.
Sorry,
somebody's going to say I hated Zelda. He loves it. Fucking man, so polarized these days. Jesus Christ, man, it's so great. That's what I was saying about the chat. Is like when I was mentioning it, when somebody said something, I was like, "That's polarized. That's a person who's just freaking out, like, enough to like not be factual about it. A conversation.
No way.
Yeah. So yeah, I would love to see a Tron movie. Or a Tron video game. That would be really cool.
Yeah, me too, man.
From that.
Like a full-on third-person
full-on
adventure.
It would be fun to see. Hey, if I ever get my money, I don't know from what, if I ever win the lottery and I don't turn into a raging alcoholic sex maniac, I could fund one game. At the game costs these days, maybe one. Maybe one. Yeah. Maybe one. Maybe half of one. And
then even if it succeeds, you would have to close your studio.
That's so raw. That's so raw, but that is so true. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, even after it succeeds, I'm like, okay, everybody, we've sold gangbusters.
We barely got our money back.
We barely got our money back, yeah.
Cheers.
And then you had put in some sales that were pretty impressive for what was the Battlefield sales that we saw?
Yeah, so over 7 million. Where's my brain going? 7 million copies in 3 days. That is a banger, even for them.
Yeah,
with their expectations. So
loved
good on them.
Loved an article I read that said Battlefield. What is it? 6?
Yep.
Battlefield 6 breaks records, and then it goes on to state it sold more than its prior games. Which, by the way, not a fucking record. Dude, I don't know why that bothers me so much, but I was raging. Dude. We were in voice chat. There was a bunch of people playing FMV game, and I made the person playing stop. And I'm like, can I just mention why I get mad at some stuff? Can I read this to you guys?
That's not what a record
That's not what a fucking record means. Yeah, it's like breaks records by selling more than it sold in the
every week you would be breaking records because you did one more repetition on your curl.
I would technically be breaking a record by lifting this twice because, if I hadn't lifted one that day. Dude, it's fucking so stupid. Congrats to them. They didn't say that, by the way. Congrats to them. It sold really well. It seems to be doing well. People seem to like it. The campaign I've enjoyed. I played the campaign almost all the way through. You saw me. I played about three-fourths of the way through. It was enjoyable. Wasn't like gonna change the world. Most first-person shooters don't. But there were
some cool moments with the destruction that really elevated it.
And that destruction can sit and sink in a single-player campaign where it absolutely does not have the focal point and time and attention in a multiplayer environment. It just doesn't. It felt way better. I don't want to spoil it, but there's one particular scene where we were trying to guess, was it scripted? Do you remember what I'm talking about? Where something fell down. We're like, dude, was that because I had just shot it and then something happened? And we were like, we weren't sure. But we were like, okay, so it must have been the second
because
thing.
It was so big and so spectacular that it had to be scripted. But was it? Because you did hit it.
Because I did hit it with tank rounds many times trying to destroy it. It was one of those.
So even that doubt.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, that's the exact thing, dude. It doesn't have to always be true. It's the doubt.
Sure.
It's like that ability to go, like, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Was that scripted? No. We don't like. There was a little bit there that I was like, I got to play that part again, which I thought was great. Yeah, that was fun.
I saw a lot of clips too, of like destruction moments from games. So I think it's hitting the cultural zeitgeist a bit. Yeah, because some of those are getting memeified and stuff. There's, for example, the meme of the crane, where it's, for some reason, in a lot of places, there's a very big crane.
Right.
Very high up. And I don't know if they are rigged to be destroyed like super easily, but it's just like everybody posting these cranes getting destroyed and destroying stuff around it. Like it's almost like you touch it and it goes. Just
Yeah. Dude,
cool.
it's if you watch a 1980s movie, expect a fucking random fruit stand with a non-English speaker to be behind it and a car to blast through it. It just absolutely will happen. Especially in the 80s and 90s, there were particular tropes that if you didn't hit, it did not feel like, and a lot of it was the original race. What's his name? McQueen. Was it?
Oh yeah.
Was it? No. It was a Bullet. So Bullet with Steve McQueen, I believe, was one of the original. Like, here's a car chase. Here's like what a car chase should look like, and here's what happens. And from that point on, for 40 fucking years, everybody mimicked those. So you started to see those tropes popping up, and you saw it go up, and you saw bits of it in Ronin with Robert De Niro. You see like these sort of things. You saw it in The Rock. You saw it in these movies where it pops up, and then the fruit stand became a thing. I don't know where I don't remember if fruit stand was in the Bullet, but it was in a lot of movies, man. Fruit stands
will be driven into,
or guys moving glass across the. By the way, having had to move glass, having put it in houses, you never just crossed a street. It was the weirdest shit. It was like. Two guys with a giant pane of glass.
Yeah, and let's just cross
fucking car
without looking.
And cross it out through it. And the car guy is just blast through it. But then he drives around something 2 seconds later. You're like, dude, could you? Those guys are probably dead with that exploding glass. You could have just went around it.
Yeah,
but yeah. There's a lot of tropes. Yeah, the cranes, dude. The cranes. You would assume everything's in construction everywhere. Small town, giant crane. You're like, why is there a crane in every goddamn game? All the time.
Yeah, it's great.
But a good game, and I think I can't say it's deserving or not of that many because that doesn't make any sense. I will just say it did well. Like it's doing.
But the sentiment, like you just hear people talk.
They're having.
It's overall positive.
Yep.
You know, like whether multiplayer, single player.
Yep.
Not a ton of people going full on negative, which was the case for the majority of people in the prior Battlefield, right, is pretty much negative across the board.
Well, I was surprised too, because at one time Arc Raiders was supposed to be big. I mean, it's got 100,000 playing it, but it's like nowhere near what I expected. And I think some of that is now because of Battlefield, because in our Discord, when we were asking people if they were doing Arc Raiders, most of them were like, nah, actually, I'm enjoying Battlefield. I'll get Arc Raiders at some time, but why jump into a game and an unknown
not for the test or whatever
versus like play the game that I do now know is good and I'm enjoying it, blah, blah, blah. And there was a lot of people who were canceled. They were like, yeah, I'm not doing Arc Raiders. That's not for me, at least right now, and then jump to that. But that's also because you got Call of Duty too.
Yeah, you got Call of Duty. And we know like for a test, you might not even be able to get in. A lot of people
it's a test.
They have the
like,
meme
what are you gonna be doing?
Let me in, whatever.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think overall, though, it released at a good time and it's doing well. And you got Call of Duty, which looks to be doing really well. And you're just like, we'll have to see when it releases what its technical state. Yeah, it's very cool. It's a little disconcerting because I want to play two of those. I mean, I really want to play Call of Duty. I really want to continue to play Battlefield.
Yeah.
And
I like that they have a distinct flavor, I think, so that, there's a reason why you would play one over the other. As opposed to just like sticking to one of them?
I agree with you. They have a distinct flavor, but I would say Battlefield doth protest too much. If you listen to the Battlefield guys, they're like, we're not doing special skins. We changed this. And when you play Battlefield, it's very close to Call of Duty now in the speed and some of the stuff that they've adjusted. It still feels different, but it definitely, as much as they protest, it's like, guys, just shut up and make your game. Like, we get it. You're not going to do a Ren and Stimpy fucking costume. Who gives a fuck? Like, whatever. If that's holding somebody back, that's on them, not on you. You do your thing.
Yeah.
But there's all that developer sniping going on now. You've got a developer doing something, and instead of just saying, we've done this, they're like, well, unlike other people, we're not like the guys who did the Datsun pickup game, Kingmakers or Kingslayers. Kingslayers? Is that the game? Where you're driving the pickup and you go back in time.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I love it that
Kingmakers,
they delayed. Yeah, Kingmakers. They delayed their game.
Yeah, I think
and instead of saying we're delaying our game to optimize more, they had to do it. They had to. They had to throw shade. And they're like, we don't want fake frames. And you're like, guys, Jesus, it's an actual optimization in a fucking card. Are we really? Just optimize your game, move forward from there. Just, goddamn, it's all this sniping. Go look at all these posts, and they won't just say one thing. They have to add just a little bit. It's like, unlike others, you know, and you're like, dude, I get it. But I mean, the same thing happened with the Beast. I told you this. I was mad when when they were talking about the Beast, because one of the developers was like, I think it was a lead, was like, well, the people who matter didn't like Dying Light 2 as much. And I was like, wow, man, for a game that's going to have 10 years of support, saying anything even close to that is a really rough thing to hear as a person who likes that game. If somebody likes that game, maybe they didn't play well.
Yeah, it would be upsetting.
It makes you, it's like, dude, seriously? Like, just say you wanted to do the game. Just say you wanted to do the game. You don't have to, this odd throwing
shoot down
Paul under the bus so that you can save Betty is fucking weird.
Yeah,
it's odd.
Can they do the thing where, you know, in the car ads where Mercedes was poking fun at Jaguar and vice versa? Can they do the same thing with games? Could like Call of Duty take a shit on Battlefield if they wanted to?
Well, they can now because Battlefield opened the, for whatever reason, Battlefield is definitely like the little brother who's finally doing good at football, and the older brother's a football star in the family. Battlefield has such a chip on their shoulder, which I guess is why, because they've lied a lot of times. Battlefield's definitely, I mean, the most realistic campaign of all time, and suddenly you have a cybernetic armed character, and you're like, seriously? Read the room. What the fuck do you mean? So they've done a bunch of bullshit for a long period of time, and instead of just saying, here's our game, we've listened, they're like, here's a game we've listened, and here's why we're better. So they had a trailer that was like dissing on Call of Duty. Then they're like, unlike other games, we're not going to have fun, you know, skins. And it's like, I get that people don't like those skins. Put a switch on your thing. Turn those skins off. If you want to allow somebody to turn it off, but there's no reason to arbitrarily also hold yourself back from making money if that's what you want to do on a skin. I have no issue with like a skin in Call of Duty a year afterwards that's like Ren and Stimpy, because you know why? I can shoot them easier. I say, give me big-headed skins in a game. Give me a Homer Simpson. He's going to be much easier for me to shoot in the face. Like, I love that. And then just give me a tick, you know, little check mark that says,
like
I don't want to see the special
mode.
A purity mode. That's what we'll call it. Would be like virginity mode. Yeah, dude, there's something, especially as somebody who played those games and is like militant on Arma. If I saw somebody with a Ren and Stimpy like costume in Arma, I would never
get not canon.
I would never be like, oh my god. And Battlefield, they've got a chip on their shoulder, but they're doing really well, so they'll roll into the chip without looking as bad. But it's still odd, you know. It still looks, it's still a weird look, you know. Especially as everybody's having all these issues, and you should be accelerating each other's successes and celebrating them and being like pushing that success for somebody else. They're like, no, let's hammer on each other, which is, it sort of sucks to see. I would have liked to have just seen them just release their game, do well, and be like,
I agree.
Here's what we offer differently. But Battlefield has been taking shots since Bad Company 2. Yeah, maybe they were just missing the entire time, right? It's possible. This is a good one. Bep Corrido 819. Maybe that's the year he's from. He says devs are a bit too terminally online, methinks. That is absolutely a good way of saying it. Oh my God, Ruggiero nails it. He nailed it with the comment. When we made Baldur's Gate 3 and released on Steam, it was considered the best shooter ever made. I know what that is in. I know what that is in reference to. And bravo, man. Bravo. Damn. Yeah. Wow. Boy, is that true. Yeah, the devs saying some of that stuff is weird, but yeah, so you got Call of Duty, you got Battlefield, you got Gray. There's another one coming out that's like not in these. I can't remember what it is. You know.
Yeah, Gray's something.
Yeah, there's another one. Spanky Steve says COD is lazy, Carrick. Stop acting. Smiley face. COD is lazy. I don't know what that means, but COD is lazy, just so you know. COD is lazy. Let's remember that. at all times. You know what? Cod is actually a ground fish, and it really is pretty lazy. So yeah, cods are lazy. BF6 has some leveling issues to sort through first. Class leveling, etc., is a bit of a mess. Dude, if people like it now with whatever class leveling issues you're talking about, they're gonna like it even more. They're gonna love it. That's good. I want to see the improvements. Hopefully they'll do well. There's a game called like Gray something that I saw some trailers for that was a SCP mixed with military shooter. Gray.
Wasn't it Gray Zone?
Gray Zone?
Gray Zone, maybe?
Is that what it is? Saw a trailer for it. Looked really good, whatever it was. I like myself some SCP shit.
Gray Zone Warfare, but that's
out already.
access?
Yeah. This one was, I think that's why I'm having a hard time remembering the name, because I think there's a lot of overlap. There's always overlap with these names, dude. Always. Always, man. Necro, what's up, buddy? He says they've already started doing some of the leveling speed improvements. Oh, you mean like they're slow in which game? Battlefield? Battlefield. Yeah, have to be Battlefield. What else we got for news? You had that sales. What other ones do you have? Gray Zone Warfare. Is that it? Are you sure? I feel like it's
that
not
one
that.
Came out in
because that one's already out. Yeah, this is a new one I'm talking about, guys. This is and I thought Gray Zone Warfare. What was Gray Zone Warfare's SCP? Was it supernatural shit? I mean, if it is, then maybe that's what we're talking about. What do you got? Oh, Gray State. Rules of Engagement, the Gray State. Thank you.
Oh, there you go.
Whatever your username is. Thank you very much.
So is that out now? Let me check.
No, I don't think so.
No. Okay.
Hey, what's up? Rules. Wizard of Smoke is back. Hello, friendos. Long time no see. What's going on, sir?
Oh, and it's free to play. It's not out yet. No date, but okay. Cool.
No date. What else you got for news?
So I saw a couple things. For example,
hopefully that didn't shut down everything. Give me 1 second. I just hit a button and I don't know what I hit. We're good.
Oh,
continue. My monster spilled or flipped over on my keyboard and hit a button. Go ahead.
I saw that Xbox had over 30 games coming out in the span of like 2 weeks now, end of October. So that's pretty cool. So they're getting a bunch of games following the price hikes, which at least, is a good gesture, right? To keep people feeling like it's good value. I think like that's part of the promise from them, is that they're going to keep investing and making it even more value and stuff. So it's cool to see.
I mean, the other thing, but nobody's going to be able to, like, I have fundamental problems with their release schedules, man. If they're doing 30 in 2 weeks or 30 in 2 months, even, that's a shit ton. Like, how do you, I mean, at some point you're going to assume those old games are already there and the value is no longer added. It's expected.
Yeah. Cause you can only perceive a part of it, right?
Exactly. You can only perceive some of that improvement at any one particular time. Yeah. And
then the rest kind of falls to the sides.
Yeah.
Like the one you reviewed, Keeper? Yeah. This interesting game, right? Very interesting. That's on Game Pass.
Yep.
Too. So you could say, okay, I'm going to play that. And then now you might be missing, 2 or 3 others you could be interested in. And then because they're no longer on this like front page, it's a lot harder to find them.
Dude, I have serious fundamental, as you can tell, I have huge fundamental problems with like the way Xbox packages stuff and tells people about stuff and even looks at their business plan. I'm not the guy. It doesn't matter. Jor, for some reason, is trying to get your attention, telling you he's hungry. I have no clue if he's like your roommate or something, but he continues to try to ping you. So you like, dude, I don't know. Here's the thing. Microsoft has huge fundamental issues that exist not within what they're offering. It's like how they advertise their offerings, where they put them in their list. Like you just said, you get, the old study that was like, you only have enough mental space for 15 best friends and then like 30 acquaintances that are really close. And then after that, everybody's like your touch base friend, your close proximity, business proximity friend. They're not really
touch base friend.
Touch base friend. That's what I touch the base of the penis friend is what I like to call them. But I don't know why. But anyway, yeah. So you've only got a certain concentric ring of focus, right? So
Yes.
once they offer those games and they're offered on a blast, Xbox is like, hey, look at us. We've got all these games. Great. But those become the expectation and no longer the excitement or the understanding of what's coming. So 30 in a small amount of time does sort of suck a little bit. A little bit. It's a great idea.
And it dilutes the visibility, because part of the value of both being on Game Pass, like you being a consumer of Game Pass, is you had the idea of games being curated in some way. So it's like we got 2 new games, this month that were kind of this spotlight. You know, it's like these are the sweetheart indies we got for you this month. And you're looking at those, it's much easier to track and see, are you interested in them or no? Now, if you have something that's much more like diluted, where do you even put your focus on? Because now you don't know from the 30 or whatever. Is there a spotlight? Is there like something I should really look at? How do I even approach?
Yeah.
Looking at all of them.
Yeah, if I was,
so I missed that a little bit.
If I was them, I would be. If I was Obsidian, I'd be a little mad too, because Outer Worlds is coming.
Outer Worlds,
yeah, Outer Worlds is coming, and it's like, let's focus on Outer Worlds a little bit. Why don't we throw some of these games on a Christmas time release? You can have the best deal in the world, and if nobody fucking knows, it's the worst deal in the world, right?
True.
It and the reason why it's the worst deal is because it won't be used, and you've tried to sink those costs somehow. So you've made the worst deal humanly possible. If you can't explain to somebody that you've got a deal, that's their biggest problem. Is that they do have some good stuff, but they did the absolutely dumbest thing ever, and that was to make everybody assume that all those games are worth $1 only with the rolling of the coupons. The $10 only.
Yeah.
They're one of the worst business decisions of all time is not buying Activision. That was, as we've already heard now by Sedya as well as Bobby Kotick, that wasn't even Phil Spencer. They talked about it. They decided to do it and then brought him in. They were the ones that's like a bad decision, sure, I think. But the big bad decision for me is the absolute mismanagement of the pricing structure and allowing for whatever to continue and not allow for gamers, anybody who wants to get into it, to not have the assumption that everything is worth that smaller amount, because every increase feels worse and worse. And sometimes you're like, well, is that... Dude, I remember when it raised the first time, people were like losing their mind. I'm going to cancel it, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, dude, seriously, look at the price. Really? But they were already accustomed to it. They let it roll out. It's a bad deal, man. It's they've made some horrendous mistakes. But at the same time, if this was any fucking buddy else, dude, and they released Keeper, I'm sorry, I do have to point this out. As much as I hate some of the stuff they've done, they released Keeper. They do a bunch of these smaller, weird, independent-looking games that aren't independent. They're Double Fine, which works for them. That is a phenomenally weird game that if it was Sony, you would have people being like, nobody else has got Keeper. And you're just sitting there going, Jesus. And so what happens is those games, those occasional games that do come out that are these unique things, don't get the shine because they're corrupted by all this other stuff.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough situation for
Rocky
them.
Loves Emily says, what does ACG stand for? Americans Can't Game? No, always calls out shitty gamers. I just removed some of the letters. So I'm calling you out, Rocky. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it sort of sucks because your premium games don't get the shine, and then your small games don't get the shine because everybody's talking about the business.
Yeah, because if you're just adding more and more games, that actually might dilute like you said, the perception. It might feel like these big baskets when you go to a big store and you have this basket full of games that everyone is $1.
Well, think about it like this, I don't know if you do Easter, but if you have like Easter baskets and you have a bunch of chocolates inside, you got your shit chocolates on the top, you got your great ones in the center. But if a 9-year-old kid with ADD, because all that sugar is just picking whatever is, he's just picking from it. He's not being able to see the nicer stuff that may be in there, whatever. That's sort of gamers right now. And I'm not saying gamers are like, not paying attention, but it's hard to
Yeah.
pay attention because it's hard. You're looking at all this frill and you see all this stuff and they all sort of wrap the same until you get into them.
I mean,
so you just grab
yeah,
whatever.
I was gonna say it's even worse because they could have the same wrapping, but some are a 9 out of 10 and others are a 6. Like,
yeah.
How do you tell the bangers from the mid?
From the mids? Yeah. Also, Keeper's a weird game, dude. Keeper's a weird game. Keeper's a niche and a niche and a niche and a niche.
Yeah.
And it's not going to appeal to a lot of people. I liked Abzu, and it's somewhat like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like Journey somewhat. I liked Abzu more, but that was more just I didn't play Journey with the zeitgeist. I played it later. But I played Abzu. I really liked it. It was weird. Keeper's the same way. You're basically a 60-foot stone penis flipping and flopping around on spider legs, shining a light on things to cause the world to grow or time to switch or using your bird companion. So it's a little bit of It Takes Two mixed in. Fantastic world, man. Everything's bent. Everything's like a little decayed, a little creepy, a little broken. And that part of it was great. Performance was not. It's a much heavier game than I think it. It's a much heavier game than I could understand why. I was looking at my performance going, okay, this is weird. Why is it that when I'm looking at some of these games that are coming out, they're running great, and you look at it and you go, that looks amazing and runs great, and then you see a game like this, which is super slow. Like the fastest that thing moves is slow. At its fastest. Downhill, speed running is slow. And yet the FPS solidly, not stutter, just lower FPS than it should have got without, some assistance or turning some special effects down, which I thought was odd. But if you're into those kind of games, it might be for you, man. It's a different style of game. It's definitely worth experiencing on Game Pass. That's why I said in the review, I know it pisses people off because I do the review and they're like, buy, wait for sale, and then I'll say, and it's on Game Pass, and I'll be like, wow, blah, blah. And I'm like, listen, it's one way to get it. I do have to point it out that, it doesn't devalue the cost of the game, nor does it try to get me out of a review. I still stated I don't necessarily think it's for people if they want to pay full price and they're not into that title. They're a little hard to review sometimes, Game Pass games. But yeah, man, I think you'd like it. I think you'd like it because you're talking 6 to 8. Well, I saw somebody say they beat it in 5, which I guess you could. I explored a little bit and I shined the light and I went everywhere with that searchlight. Any game that's got a searchlight that affects the world, I'm the guy that's spinning to try to hit every single thing in the game world with it. So I probably extended my time, but I think you'd like it, dude. I think it's a podcast game. It's one of those chill games that you could just sit back. I think you would enjoy it if you get a chance. Just turn it on and see, because the art style is primo, man.
Maybe a good Discord chat.
Yes.
We're chatting Discord, just walking in that.
I absolutely think you would. I think you would feel that for sure. Yeah. What's up, Lucitan? How are you doing? Lippy says if Gamerspin is. Go for it.
Continue.
No. What were we going to say? I was just reading around.
I was going to say someone mentioned another game I forgot about, Absalom. That new indie is also really cool. I played some of that with a friend.
Yeah.
And it's like Castle Crashers, but with insanely good art and with roguelite stuff on top of it. So you have abilities you unlock, different things to customize your play style. 4 playable characters. One of them is a frog, which is also a plus.
Yeah, that's what we talked about last week. A levitating frog mage.
There you go. Should have led with that. But great time. I think it's like $20. Highly recommend it. It's got the beat 'em up, but with roguelite, if you enjoyed that too. So
Free Me says, wonder if they'll do another doc for Keeper. He means the documentary they did on Psychonauts 2. If you fancy yourself at all interested in game making, even if you have a creepy ass fascination with it, or you'd love to see what's going on behind the scenes, Double Fine's documentary is probably the best example in history of a documentary. It's their game. They don't have somebody coming in, some bullshit, pretending it's a documentary. This is like those guys actually covering real shit. and they don't spend a bunch of time talking to the camera. You don't have to watch some fucking YouTuber blathering. It's just them doing 30 episodes, I think, of game development and the problems and the awesomeness and the difficulties and the like moments of success and then abject failure the very next day. And it's Game of Thrones. Well, it's not really Game of Thrones. That's unfair because there's not a ton of there's some personal drama, but it's got that. It's just got this vibe. And when you get done with it, you know more about games, which I think is impossible to put a negative on. I think it's like there is almost no reason if you try to say that you like games, you like development, that you don't watch it. And the delivery and the data, dude, it's so finely filmed. You know, if I filmed it, you filmed it, a YouTuber filmed it who wasn't like some dude with a Patreon or something, it probably wouldn't look as good, right? They wouldn't have as much. They just put it together and it looks good. It's always great color graded. It's always really, really high level filming, so it feels good. They'll zoom in on like a context of an art and they'll follow it for a while. They'll be like, this is going to be our level.
That's cool.
And then 2 episodes later, they're like, we're cutting that level. And you just see people at their desks. And by the way, this is not abuse. Sorry. This is the way a team works. Look at Jason Kelsey, or not Jason Kelsey, but his brother, the one that is, what's her name's girlfriend. I'm just joking. He is moved around. He didn't get as many snaps and he bitched. It's like, hey, sometimes a team isn't working out, right? That's what happened. And they had this level and they got crushed because the level had to be cut. And their despair isn't anger at anybody because they're fucking adults. Their anger is like just life, and games are hard to make. And it was so cool to see them talking together and just being like, damn, man, like
tough decision there.
Oh, dude, it was tough. I mean, you see people like tears in their eyes who like, this was my level. This was my level. This is like what and people liked it, but it just wasn't working with the vibe. It's just like remember the old days when you had an A side, B side on a cassette, or a CD has 15 songs, but only the first 8 are good. It just wasn't fitting in. You know, it just wasn't a perfect fit. Great documentary.
And some B sides can be like better than.
I thought so. Yeah, I think some B sides are my favorites.
For some stuff, it's just that, like you say, maybe it didn't fit with the flow, with the narrative, or with the pacing.
Yeah.
Then you gotta.
Iron Tarkus says, grabbed Silent Hill F because of the review. Loving it. Yeah, Silent Hill F was ace, man.
Cool.
That was a good game.
Yeah, that looked good. I thought the setting worked really well, surprisingly. The Japanese stuff.
Yeah. So on Keeper, if you like I don't even know what to call it. If you like,
well, you described it as a walking sim with puzzles.
With more puzzles than you would expect for a walking sim. Yeah, more than The Station, which was another walking sim. More than Edith Finch. But I'll tell you, the camera sucked balls. So they're like, okay, we've got a patch for this camera, and I'm like, okay. I read the notes, and it's like, we've got a patch for the camera, and I'm like, well, a camera? It's a third-person game. Like, how bad could it be? Like, is it like Ghost of Tsushima, where at the starting you're just like go into a tent, you're like, fuck it, I just hope I live because it's so bad. It's bad at times, not all the time, but there are these brief moments where Resident Evil's the shit out of itself. So you're heading right and the camera switches, and now down is right and right is up and left is, so it does that thing where, like, if you're watching porn and it's portrait and you really wanted, I'm just joking.
Now you're going backwards.
Yeah, you want it clockwise. So you have to switch it. And I was playing it going, and luckily there's nothing to stress about because it's not a bullet hell. But it did take away the cinematic effect that it looked like a surreal painting, like, Bob Ross and a lot of DMT, and watch Dr. Seuss. And you would get those moments, you'd be so excited, and you'd be like, oh my God, this is the most beautiful, what the fuck? That would happen. It happened a couple times where I'd be sitting there playing and go, this game is just amazing. You mother, what the? And because it would just switch, and it would break that sense for a brief millisecond where you were like, okay, now I'm facing a different way.
That's when the technical gets in the way of the artistic.
Yeah. Luckily, it's not super often. It's just that it feels weird because, once again, like performance, it's super slow, and I don't feel like it makes a lot of sense that they were there in the first place. But like I said, there's a patch day one. Somebody was showing let me read these system specs for it, because they're pretty fucking high. The system specs for Fallen were posted in here. The recommended specs are pretty crazy. This is Maharaja 101. The recommended system specs are a 4080 and a 7900X. Yeah, that's a system spec. That's rough.
Yeah,
that's high. That's rough high right there. Damn.
Yeah, for that type of game, it's very unusual.
Yeah, I wonder if some Steam Deck aficionado is going to try to get that running.
Oh yeah. It's going to be verified, but still run like dog shit.
Yeah. And then, but people who like Steam Decks will be like 40, 4K, 60 FPS, stable. Everything's stable. While I'm also streaming
I'm a
Discord.
fan of the Steam Deck, but
Steam Deck's fine piece of hardware, but the people around it are absolute trash, man. Like, just trying to get real data sometimes about, like, I was even seeing it after I got rid of mine. Watching people try to tell this person, you can do anything, you can do that. Oh yeah, you can do that on it, and you're looking at it going, it doesn't even have the hardware spec to do that. What are you talking about? You can't do that on it. Oh no, yeah. I got it to work. I just didn't record it. It's like, yeah, sure you did. I'll check out Keeper because I liked Abzu and Sword of the Sea. Yeah, Sword of the Sea is also a great one.
Yeah, that was a recent one. I have it on my list. I haven't checked it yet. Yeah, it was maybe a couple months ago.
Yeah, that'll be fun to check out if you get a chance. Yeah, that's it for Keeper. What else do we got on our list of lists?
Outer Worlds 2 is coming out on the 29th, I want to say, of this month.
On the Outer Worlds 2, 29th. Right, yeah.
Yeah. So that's Game Pass day one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And they lowered the price from the $79 to $69, I think, dollars. So it's like normal full price now. So with all of that, what are your expectations going into it? Because I find a lot of times the problems in reception comes from an expectation that's out of whack with reality. So for you, what do you expect? Is it just like be as enjoyable as the first one? Or is it push the boundaries and do stuff the first one didn't do, be bigger, more expensive, maybe like better gameplay? What is it that you're locking on in to see if it's like a success sequel or not?
They will never say this, nor have I heard it. But there's got to be at least a couple people in there who are treating Outer Worlds 1 as if it's Fallout 3 and they're making New Vegas. That's my opinion. Is that what they're doing is they're treating Outer Worlds as a game that they released, they for sure made, but they're treating the sequel in the same way they treated New Vegas or Knights of the Old Republic 2, where they want to improve in very particular places that did not resonate in the first one, which were noticeable not resonating in the first one, that were sort of Obsidian staples that didn't resonate, and people noticed that with that game. That is my firm belief, is that they're looking at it, or even subconsciously looking at it saying, okay, that is our game for sure. Of course it's their game, but that they want to treat it in the same improvement layering steps that they improved, or people believe they improved New Vegas. Less buggy, let's hope. And from what I got to play in the preview, I can't talk about anything else, but what I got to play in the preview, that pretty much seems the way it is. For example, the shooting was passable in the first one. Passable. Wasn't terrible, wasn't good. It was passable. You could shoot people in that game. That was improved in the right? Like, that's it. I was able to shoot others in the game. The sequel felt better when I played the preview. The role playing felt, it was a little hard to tell because the preview wasn't the greatest location, but what I felt was it was just a little bit more nuanced, and that they wanted to make Outer Worlds, make sure it felt really different than, let's say, a Fallout or a Starfield, because they didn't know what Starfield was going to be. You know, they're not talking, they're not sitting, in Bethesda's fucking
sharing
house.
notes.
Yeah, high-fiving Todd over the next code update, right? So the goofiness, all that, they've stated that it's supposedly a little less goofy, but everything I played in the preview and the trailers they're doing and the videos they do with the guy from Parks and Rec are all on the jokier side. So that's the thing I think people will have not an issue with, but I see already a confusion that's happened with people not in the Discord, my own friends in real life, where they have distinctly said, I just read that they thought they were going more serious, but then I just watched John Ralphio from Parks and Rec make jokes for 45 minutes in a skit.
That's maybe a disconnect, right?
Correct,
if you go into it expecting the serious...
Halo did the same thing. They had the diorama video for Halo. It was a commercial for Halo. And when Halo 3 came out, it was the diorama commercial for Halo 3, right? Yeah. It came out. People were so confused. They were absolutely confused by the tone shift. And they didn't say this diorama is the game, but it was a huge deal. And it became this big deal because it looked good. It looked amazing as a commercial. People were like, oh, it's war-torn. They've got fake war veterans talking and shaking and crying like World War II was in the Halo universe in the future. They were doing a really good job making it feel like a grittier whatever. And that's not what happened. And so it was a great game, but there was still confusion on the tone, like what's the tone of this?
Yep.
That would be the one thing I would say might impact people is the tone. We'll just have to see. I don't know. What about you? Like, what do you like? Did you like Outer Worlds?
Yeah, I liked Outer Worlds.
Okay.
I think my expectation for the second one would be more sophisticated gameplay. Like you said, it was pretty basic. The shooting,
absolutely.
The melee was clunky, right? Like in a lot of those games.
Yeah.
So that I think is in maybe more variety of weapons and stuff, which they're doing. So I'm okay with what we've already seen quite a bit. Stuff like your stats mattering in dialogue, I think is really important for those types of games. We saw some examples in trailer where, I think you had like a bad back or bad knees or something.
Yes. Yeah,
that was a
traits.
cool, some goofy traits you could have. That to me is cool. So expanding on that, I think is a good shout. I would love to see some more complex areas because I felt they were quite simple in the first one. They worked really well, extremely well for what they were. But having some more in-depth areas, I would love. I still remember that city in the first one where it turned out to be kind of like 2 blocks.
Hated that city.
Once you broke it down.
Yep.
Yeah, it looked great. I loved the setting in that. But once I just saw all of it very quickly, was like, okay, it's very small. I'd love to see more of that. But honestly, that's about it. I would love for them to keep the fundamentals that worked really well in the first one.
I think it is so goddamned great that you just pointed out the dichotomy of the attitudes, because what was one of the first things you were talking about? You were talking about like a little bit of the humor and like what is funny, bad back traits that maybe give you a bad back. And then they're like, we're being more serious. And you are? Because you got a trait that quite literally is called bad back.
Yeah.
Like, which by the way, I love. And you can still be serious. But that's what I was pointing out was there's like a dual conversation going on right now of like, yeah, we're going to be, a little bit more serious on this one. And then you're like flagellants you consistently fart and enemies can smell you.
Yeah,
like, I don't know how these work together. But you know what? They're probably one of the few companies I think that can pull that together and still, I would rather have them go much more jokey, or not jokey, but I'm okay with Outer Worlds as a line feeling completely divergent from a Starfield, which is your more clinical space, your Elite Dangerous, more clinical space, that kind of space game. And then your very antiseptic, but organic, but like oddly tangential No Man's Sky. And then you go over here and you have a more cultivated space that is, I agree with you, fucking fix your city. Jesus, that city was rough. And do the hub world like a hub world could be done. It is weird that my complaint for Borderlands prior to this one was the hub feeling a certain way. I feel like Outer Worlds and the bigger planets felt a lot like Borderlands, which is not necessarily a positive. It's actually not, because that was one of my biggest pet peeves with those games. And I feel like there were a couple places in Outer Worlds. There's one spot, I don't know if you remember, you can land on a planet and you can land on the space dock, or you can land like on another side of it and come in, and they warn you. They're like, if you go to this other area, it's faster, but there's enemies everywhere. And they did it one time. It reminded me of Cyberpunk being like, everything can change. Sorry, just one mission can. And I felt the same way with Outer Worlds. I was like, oh my God, this is great. And then they're like, but it only happens one time. I would love to see that improved. Yeah. I don't know if you ever took my advice, but if you get a chance, check out Outer Worlds 1, go into the guns and hit the button to see the extra stats. And you can see that they're tracking way more than the game ever reflects. And I'm assuming that was a prior thing, that they were thinking they were going to do more stat builds, and they just sort of petered that away. Yeah. So I'd like to see how that, pans out in Outer Worlds.
That's true. I remember seeing the advanced
dude, there was a
and there was
ton
so
of
much
stats on
stuff.
there. It was a Dark Souls game. Maybe not that bad, but you were just looking at it going, they're tracking all the, like, it seems like
it was almost like a D&D thing where you got all these
plus 2 to dexterity, but minus 2 to strength, but faster recoil, right? Or faster reload. Also, can we just get it out and just say it? If a Pavardi improvement is not in this, I'm gonna be really not disappointed, but I'm going to be really expecting a lot of the discussion to be about all the NPCs being bad, because I believe that the original had some fun NPCs overall, but many were that was their blandness. They didn't nail that in the first one. They nailed it with her. And there was one or two that I liked their pseudo ideas, but they didn't really go much. They didn't go very far. And
not into the memorable.
Right. And range. If you were able to get 2 Pavardis in this, meaning I don't care if they're girls or guys, I'm saying the more nuanced.
Yeah, the level.
Dude, if you can get 2 Pavardis and then get the rest of the guys to the level of, say, it's not Naomi. I think I'm rolling over into an Uncharted character's name, but there's a character who's like there's a mercenary, and then there's the short crew cut blonde lady with the fucking wicked she in the special move, she like blazes away with double. I sort of liked her. If you can get them above them, if you can get the rest above them, I think that would be a good.
Yeah, I think 2 Pavardis should be the official benchmark for the devs.
Like Outer Pavardi 2.
Yeah,
maybe not. You'll come up with something else, but it should be like now with 2 Pavardis. That'd be.
Yeah, that's great.
She was a good character. She wasn't great, or she was just really good. And probably, do you think we elevate her because the others were lackluster and she wasn't as good, or do you believe she was on her own, stand aside, actually a good character?
No, I think she was really good.
Okay, so do I. But I was
by herself.
Yeah,
and even by comparison to other games,
to date,
she stood out.
The person you're dating seems better. You know what I mean? That's why I
know what you mean.
Yeah,
but I could compare it to a lot of other games where there were some alright NPCs, but I've already forgotten their names.
Yeah.
But for, with her, it's quite memorable.
Yeah. Yeah, I reviewed that 3 times, and I played through it 5. Not because I absolutely loved it, but because reviewing it was great. I was very interested in the Switch's performance, so I reviewed it there, reviewed it on the consoles and the PCs. And then I played it because I had a Switch, and I had hacked one that was you could stream from your PC. So I was like, that was one of the games I tested, was streaming the PC video card and power to the Switch, because I actually thought with the Satisfy controllers, the Switch was one of the better handhelds for comfort and just lightness. The Switch is so light when you don't have a battery pack on it. It's like air. And I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's not the greatest game in the world, but it fills a niche that isn't filled right now. I actually think it's got a good place. Same way with Avowed. I know, weirdly, Avowed scored very well, but then I saw a lot of, this is normal where you see people hate it, but with Avowed, it's an odd game but I think it filled a good space that, let's say, Dragon Age didn't fill.
Yeah,
your colorful fantasy D&D, but it definitely was Obsidian feeling through and through. Everything about Avowed, not to use a bad term because I don't mean it in a bad way, but reeked of Obsidian, if that makes sense. Every single choice, everything, but it didn't have some of the highs with the character. For instance, it didn't have a Pavarti, I don't think, personally. So I'm hoping this one does. Yeah. Good discussion. Yeah, it's interesting. I always like to ask people if they think it was good or if it was just
so that's the expectation.
Yep.
So when we talk about it, when it comes out, does it have 2 Pavartis?
Yeah,
or
2
better?
Pavartis is, yeah.
That's it.
Sounds like a sandwich, 2 Pavarti sandwich.
We solved it.
I'm just saying, it's a sandwich I would...
and there is a cheese called Pavarti, by the way.
I know.
So that's
why it always confused me.
Because it's a bit rare. Yeah.
Havarti.
No, you're right. Havarti, not the
Havarti. Yeah, but no, it confused me.
Yeah.
No, I get you. It confused
Same
me too
idea.
because same idea. And then Pan Am because of P.
Sure.
Sometimes and brunette and like there were times when we'd all be talking in here with Abzi and Reg and stuff where I'd be like,
and I've called her Pan Air 100 times.
Pan Air.
Accident.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Panty.
Yeah.
Just saying. All right, moving on from there. What else we got? Any questions or any other? We got some topics, I'm sure.
I have one thing here that I saw.
Let's do it.
So TP-Link, the router company, they did some Wi-Fi 8 trials successfully, which is pretty cool. I think now is Wi-Fi 6 pretty much what everybody has.
Yeah, 5-year,
right?
6. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a 7, I think.
So that would be really cool, like the next gen of Wi-Fi, because it's already in a pretty good spot for us to do like streaming, like you do a ton, and even stuff like VR, where you're playing wirelessly, right? We do it with the Pico. A lot of these do it. It's now the bandwidth is now where you can have a pretty good experience.
Yep.
So I think 8 is going to be to the point where even if something is not super efficient or dialed in, maybe you don't have, your different band dedicated, whatever it may be. I think that's going to be maybe the threshold where everything just works. So you don't have to be concerned with, is my router behind a wall in the living room? You know what I mean? Because these things are still a concern, like a practical thing for people. Yeah,
and they stated with 8 they weren't really looking at speed. They were looking at like power of signal. They were looking at intelligence of signal. Unfortunately, it's TP-Link, which has a very high chance of being banned in America. So because of the
really,
because it's like one of the companies that like they want to ban for like bad routerware and Chinese manufactured stuff. So there's always been these worries. I have not all, but most of mine are TP-Link. So like I have the firewall that's not and a couple others, but I definitely have them because they're cheap, good devices for a lot of the stuff I need to do.
Yeah, they're solid.
I've tested Asus. I've tested all of them, and some are great, but I just ended up settling on those. I got my Deco, which is amazing. Like that thing changed my true opinion. Dude, it changed I got to tell you, I'm rarely impressed with tech like I was that Deco because I'd been using boosters and was super happy. Extenders, absolutely ecstatic. Had a great time. Found a Deco cheap. It was on Amazon. I was like, I can return it. Everybody keeps talking about these Decos, so let me go ahead and jump in there with a Deco and see what happens. Deco is 3 devices, and they go around and they transmit that data, but you can also, if you want, wire them to each other, which is not wireless. So I don't know why that's a thing. But anyway, wireless. And I got to tell you, I was out there in my in the garage, which is about 60 yards, 50 yards maybe, 50 yards and 3 or 4 doors between me and there. And it was at 5 because I had a Deco near my kitchen, which is closer to the garage. And I was like, holy shit, I'm able to like play games on a VR system out here. And it was working magnificently. So like that stuff is great. Yeah. Why? Yeah. That kind of stuff is it's awesome. Totally awesome.
Yeah.
Does anyone still use mesh anymore? Yes, many do. It's always funny when my TV tells me about Simp Link being active. SimpLink. Oh, Simple Link. Yeah, true. SimpLink is what I believe that is actually what it's called in my TV too. When you have a SimpLink active connection, you're like, I don't know if I want to watch that. That seems scary. Yeah, that tech is great, man. Like, let's get wireless as good as it can possibly be. I mean, I do wireless in my third office, which is the third room away, and I was streaming to the guys in voice chat and playing Battlefield completely unconnected and got number one. So it was like, all right, it works well enough for,
good enough
old farts to play. Yeah, that's awesome, man. It's awesome tech. I love to see it. I want to see more. I want to see them get 60 hertz was the one I tried. I don't know if you've heard about that. I think I might have told you. So there's an HDMI wireless transmitter, but you really don't want to try on 5E. It's not super high bandwidth. There's always issues. So there's a particular company makes a 600 hertz. And you have the antenna in here, and it's a 600 hertz with nothing else. I mean, my nuts were probably destroyed because of the amount of power. Like, I legitimately walked in front of it twice and was like, kids or no
felt
kids?
A little buzz there.
Should I leave? Yeah. Should I hurdle this laser but anyway, and tried to stream it, and it still wasn't great. And the Deco does better than that device did, and that device was only 2 years ago when I tested it. So yeah, these new devices are great. Security wise, I'm always nervous about them. I feel like security wise, they start to lock them into cell phones. Like, for example, they'll be like, okay, you want to set up your wireless device, use your phone. And I'm like, no, I'm not using my fucking phone. I want the program on my goddamn computer. Like, why would I want it on my fucking phone? I'm not going to wire that. Like, oh, hey, use your most unsecured device to hook up your router. It's like, fuck you. I want to give me an app. A lot of them don't. But when you get them set up, man, they hide a lot of those settings. Like, a lot of the security settings, matter of fact, you have to like do system admin setting, then go down, and you finally see the security stuff. And I'm like, shouldn't security be number one? Shouldn't when you go in, it be like a CAPTCHA, but for you, where you go in, it's like, listen, security is important. Why don't you turn them all on? And then if you have issues, turn them off one at a time instead of having them all fucking off. And then if you get hacked, go in and turn them on. Like, that's backwards.
Yeah.
It's so backwards.
It's like when you need a backup, but it's already too late.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you should have thought, before.
As somebody who paid $3,000 to replace that hard drive, I can tell you, as somebody dumb, I was an idiot. And it's like, I know I sound like a broken record with backups, but Lucitan had it yesterday. He was fixing his PC, and I told him, I'm like, when you are done and you've upgraded and you got a solid image, save that fucking thing, date it, say exact what version of Windows it is, and have that ISO on a USB so you can go back to that fresh working device and then upgrade from there if you have, some kind of issue. Yeah, dude, God, it sucks. Always back up your shit. Use Google Drive. It's fucking, I think it's free. Yep. You get like 5 gigs for free. Go in there and back up some of your stuff on Google Drive. It's super easy on Google Drive. You mount the thing, and Windows thinks it's a drive.
I used to do OneDrive. Well, I still do, mostly because of the integration, because it's already built into Windows. But now, Google Drive does it too. So it's
nice, man. It's nice having them.
Nice.
When I did, I had a lot of issues with OneDrive, just a shit ton. So I had to uninstall it. I would have left it because it is integrated. But when Google Drive added the ability to mount and choose update speeds and all that stuff, it legitimately is refreshing to know that I just go to Google, where all my phones are backed up too, because all my shit's backed up to one account that I paid for to get more space. And I'm like, I'm just going to put it all there. But I can go in there, find embargo data, find emails from you guys, go in there, and then also find all my files on Windows and be like, hey, it's all here. Like, it's actually, it's easier to do that stuff. Even if you have a corruption and you lose your ISO itself, you have your documents folder backed up. There's your saves, your My Games folder saved. You've got your games. And
a lot of stuff you might not think you need.
Yeah.
But then again, like, when you do need it,
you need it.
You need it.
Right.
And then
it's like a fucking tire in your car. And when you blow a tire and you're like, you blow it. I got to tell you, the worst feeling is blowing a tire. And you don't think about the sound or the uncomfort like that you feel when the car's shimmying to the side of the road. All you can think of is, when was the last time I put air in the fucking replacement tire? And because I've blown a tire, we're going about 80, And as I was pulling off, trying to control it with my girlfriend, I was like, oh, fuck. Was that this year? I hope it was this year. Like that. I wasn't even thinking about anything else other than, man, I hope that replacement tire is good. You only need it, and then you need it 100%.
You want that peace of mind, like, it's sorted. It's good.
Let's see. What else we got for news?
Not too much.
Let me look at my documents because I had a couple things.
Arc Raiders, we kind of touched on it. Yeah, they got the test, the network test, free test, so people can jump in. As long as it's working, you can check it out.
As long as it's working. That sucks as a thing to say, but it is true. As long as it's working.
mean, it does say test in it, so.
Yep. Let me grab the news and verify we haven't missed any amazing shit.
I also saw there's a new MOBA game, a Dragon Ball Z MOBA game that came out. I think it's on Steam consoles and also mobile. I forgot what the name is. It's got a weird name, but yeah. I think it's free to play too. So I'll check it out. I'll let you know next week if it's any good. But
yeah,
Dragon Ball Z MOBA game. Wasn't expecting that one.
Shadow says, you're not hardware fiber in every room, Carrick? No, I am not made of money. I mean, obviously I look like it with an amazing setup and well coiffed image.
Yeah.
But no. Coiffed. What other stuff do we have that's happened? Do we have any new tech or anything amazing? Dude, I got to tell you, speaking of tech, well, let me grab it. Okay, this will take a second. But I'm going to ask you a question. Truthfully, I know neither one of us were a huge fan of one of these, but if you were being backed up in a fight in a game or you had to take a character into a fight in a game, super important character, you only had one, would it be Pavarti or Panam? And I'll be right back. I'm listening, though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it'd probably be Panam because she can really handle herself. And she would probably have a sniper or something to help me out with. For some reason, I don't remember what Pavarti used in combat, but I didn't feel like she held her own too well, to be completely honest. So I think I'd put I would hitch my ride to Panam for sure. I think actually Panam is a good pick for that because she was quite handy with stuff. Not like that. Chat, come on. Yeah, with guns. Yeah. DBZ MOBA is visually overwhelming, has some interesting ideas and a lot of monetization. Thank you, Dylan. I will probably check it out. All I saw was Goku doing a Kamehameha, but in an isometric MOBA format. And it was so funny to me. I just have to check it out. So the idea of playing like a Dota game, but with Goku is kind of funny.
Sorry, I didn't think it was going to be this difficult to get back into my room, but all three dogs have decided that the best place is to lay under the chair.
Like completely.
And I'm the owner, but I'm like, it's all right, I'll move. I couldn't grab it. So what I'd done was I have the Legion running as a PC in another room. So I built my own case for it, and I was pretty proud. But it's too big to bring in here, so I guess I'll bring it in next thing. But I do the external GPU with the Legion, and there's nice. a really cool company that does external GPUs that I hadn't heard of before, Amazon. So I was like, doesn't matter if I've heard of it before. I'll take a risk, and if it doesn't work out, who gives a shit, right? I can always return it. And man, I'm really happy with it. Not only for LLMs but games. Super happy with it, but it's ugly because you have your Legion on a dock and then you have a goddamn, I think it's a 3080, an old 3080 that's like this big.
Yeah. Massive.
LEDs on it because some jackass thinks you care about LEDs. They're super bright. I was like, dude, I hate this. So what I did was I got an acrylic box that I bought, and then I got the metal. I showed you the metal poster I have of Space Marine.
Yep.
So what I did was, weirdly enough, there was an exact perfect size. So on the acrylic, I mounted a picture. It's Thundercats. I mean, admittedly, I like Thundercats, but it was more the picture that I saw, and I was like, dude, I like that. So I got a metal front for it, and it literally looks like a painting. It's the entire PC behind it, and then the plastic or the acrylic closes behind it. Putting some fans on it to keep it non-LED fans. I'm not a freak, but I'm putting some fans on there. And dude, it's been really nice being able to throw have that as a PC basically. I mean, I do.
Is it just USB-C? How do you connect
this
that
one?
thing?
I have two. I have a USB-C and an OptiLink. I think the Legion I did USB because I'm not using it for it loses 20 to 25% of your card. So I have the more. Yeah, that's what I did. So this one's USB-C with the more powerful card because it still loses 25%, and then the other one's OptiLink with the less powerful card. And neither one are really am I trying to hit 4K 60 on. They're just to be able to play the occasional game, to handle the stuff I want to handle. But dude, I got to be honest, man. It took 1 minute to set that up because there were back in the day there were all these worries about external GPUs, and I was like, I get it because you're trying to pipe through USB 4, which is a ton of bandwidth, but you're still, you have USB stack programming, which adds some latency, removes some performance. But I put it in there. Dude, it's been nothing but
just works.
It absolutely has been rock solid. I legitimately, you unplug it and the Legion screen comes up, and now you got a Legion. You put it back in, you plug in the thing, it thinks for a second, and then the monitor turns on, and you're like, okay, it couldn't be easy, it couldn't be much easier than that. And it works. It works great.
Wow, that's cool.
I was hoping to bring it in. Yeah, really, really happy with it. And so that case in total cost me $32. And it is a full PC case, and I was like, "Oh, damn, man, that's sort of cool." The fact because I didn't want to buy one of the real cases because you can't.
You have to
can't put
DIY
Legion in it. Not really
together, right?
So, you mean it comes in slats? Is that what you mean? Yeah, it comes in slats.
Right.
You put it together.
Yeah,
and then I did what I always do, which is crank some glue in there. Just when I was putting it together, because I was like, hey, that I will say the connectors were not coming apart. Once I started putting it together, I was like, okay, probably don't need to worry about glue because this is ridiculous. It's pretty heavy duty. But I put clear plastic on plastic glue, which is the stuff that melts it at a molecular level, sort of seizes it like a weld. Put that together. It took about 3 minutes to put it together, and then put the system inside, and you can carry it around. Put a handle on top, which is pretty cool. I'm not going to use the handle. I don't feel like that's safe. I'll probably baby it, hold it like Simba, but still, yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
Cool to be able to do. It was a cool new bit of tech for cheap. It was a nice, and I had the card sitting around. So the upgrade from the Legion by itself as a PC, can't really tell because the Legion is a PC, and I was able to do all the shit I needed to do, stream and stuff, but adding this to it has let me do LLMs, has let me do programming. It's got 11 or 12? I think 11 or 12 gigs. I think this is 3080, so I think this one's 11 or 10 maybe. But that's more than the Legion by a good amount. And so being able to switch things off to it's been pretty fun. Yeah, it's been nice. Maybe someday they'll come up with a modular system that uses something that's zero loss, because it won't take too long before you're going to be able to do. I mean, you can already do it. I think you and I've talked about, you can buy M2 adapters and use your M2 slot in your case, your NVMe slot, and connect anything to that. And that is a PCI slot like anything. So you can literally do that with I know a lot of people take B-Link, the mini PCs, and they do an external, but they don't use USB or OptiLink. They use a riser card M2 to PCIe to the external. Yeah. And that way the system quite literally thinks it's just sitting in there. And, there is no difference. So, yeah, pretty cool stuff. Bep Karita 8
Karate.
Bep Karate 8019 says USB is such a surprisingly well-tailored standard ever since USB 3. HDMI, on the other hand, whoever designed that deserves a spanking. Yeah, HDMIs can be rough. The handshake issues are gone if you use fiber, which is nice. Fiber optic, and they're cheap. I remember the first time I bought a fiber optic HDMI cable, dude. We were talking about this morning. Weird conversation. But I said, what's the gift you can give every single man in the world? An HDMI cable. we were laughing about it, going like, dude, if somebody showed up at my house and they were like, hey, man, I didn't have time to get you a gift, but here's a fiber optic, 10-foot HDMI cable, I'd be like, fuck, I got a place where I could use that. It would actually be a gift that I would appreciate. It wouldn't even have to be like something I was looking for. It's like I'm always crimping them, stepping on them, or switching them out because like I don't like the color and like, you see a black wire somewhere or whatever, you switch it out.
And all of us have a box somewhere with these cables, like...
Just some of us, 6 or 7 of those boxes. Yeah. And you plug something in, you're like, why is it not working? And it's like the original HDMI standard, which is like fucking, 420p. I'm just joking. It's not that bad, but it can be bad. Yeah. Shadow account says battery packs are the best gift. Battery packs could be. Yeah, they're pretty good. My wife had one of the ones that got recalled. Did you hear about that one? They were quite literally lighting on fire. They were legitimately lighted on fire. A Moodski, of course, had one. The guy is... I've never seen somebody...
He has bad luck.
It's beyond belief. It's beyond belief. I got to see him have bad luck this weekend. He was streaming until dawn. He played it, got tired, paused the game, saved it, came back. Game's glitched, can't move on. Lost all of his hours of gameplay because there's no save system in that. And when we look online, it's the one place in the game, Johnny. The one place, dude. It's gotta be that dude. I felt bad for him legitimately because he showed me where it was, and I'm like, well, I'll look online for you. I'm sure we can figure it out. It must not be a glitch. And he looked for like a half an hour for this item to figure out how to get the game to move forward. And I typed it into Google, and the worst thing happened. The autocorrect or the autofill popped up, which means a lot of people have been looking for that shit.
Yeah.
So I typed in Chris and blah, blah, blah stuck in and I got to like B, and it's like basement, can't move on. And I was like, oh shit, I know where this is going. And I went to Reddit, and it was like,
sometimes that's a good thing because it means there might be a solution to it that people found.
That's what we were hoping for. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I had that. Somebody said for my Steam Deck, Rogerio says, yeah, battery packs. For your Steam Deck. I had a battery pack for the Switch. What's the biggest battery pack you have? This is mine.
Don't really do.
I think. You don't do battery packs?
Oh, that's a big one. How much is that?
Yeah, this was 60,000, but it's hot. What I mean by that is its power output isn't as restricted as I think it should be, because I plugged it in my tablet before and accidentally touched my tablet and been like, whoa.
Damn.
Yeah, so what I'll do is
like the power of Zeus.
I'll do a really quick top up if it's at 0. If I plug this in at 0, it'll boot within maybe 7 seconds. So you plug it in, you need about 7 seconds before you hit on and the tablet turns on. The other devices I have, it's about a minute. So there's definitely some power coming out of this that is not normal. But I won't power anything with it long term. I don't feel super comfortable with that, but it just seems a little hot. You don't use them, huh? You don't really have any?
No, not really.
Not even for your Steam Deck. Okay, so you don't have a latch on battery for your Steam Deck. You don't do any.
No, because if I'm going outside, I'm not taking any of these things. I just play at home exclusively.
Hang on one second. I'm just asking if anybody has questions. Do we have any questions in the chat, by the way?
We had a few questions here in the Discord.
Let's do it.
Knucklehead was saying, your thoughts on Jeremy Allen White being cast as Bruce Springsteen in the upcoming movie Deliver Me From Nowhere. I think he's an incredible actor, though he seems to be typecast pretty often. Loved him in Shameless and The Bear, but I think he's an interesting choice. Happy Friday. Cheers.
Happy Friday to you. I saw the hot ones with him on it yesterday.
Yeah.
I would say, well, okay, so you have about 3 people you can choose, and one of them, Shamalunga Ding Dong or whatever, and he's in everything. Timothy. So...
Yep.
And he is not very... Bruce Springsteen, if you ever remember...
It's funny because I can never say his name, by the way. And I've seen it written...
Chalamet?
Yeah, right? I just can't.
He is very small, and Bruce Springsteen was always rangier, bigger, not big, but rangier, muscular. He, he's got the biceps, or did.
Sure.
And that was sort of his thing, the rolled up, I'm a worker, I roll up my sleeves kind of thing. Where Jeremy definitely has had, if you see him in Shameless, he's always naked or without his shirt on, because
that's the vibe he has, is the working class guy that he just lifts stuff.
I think the only thing is that Jeremy has the one thing that probably looks a little odd without a beard. He has a pretty weak chin, and Bruce Springsteen wasn't. He didn't have necessarily a weak chin. And so there's a side profile thing I noticed when I was watching trailers of the movie. I want to see it, but I don't even love Bruce Springsteen, but I do like those when they, just have a guy. And he was really singing, so I want to see how that is. I'm always impressed. Cool. Yeah, I'm always impressed when somebody...
me too, man.
Like, I don't expect
when
him to
they
be
did
Bruce.
The Queen one.
Yeah, the Queen one was
that
great.
was incredible with... blanking on his name, but cheers to that guy. He did a great job.
The guy who played Freddie Mercury, that was Remy Malek.
Remy, thank you. Yeah, Malek.
Yeah, Remy Malek.
Yeah, he really imbibed in the whole thing.
Remy Malek he's because he's in Until Dawn, in the horror game that we just played last weekend, and he's good in pretty much everything. Legit. Yeah,
and he's got that weird face.
Oh, he's Buscemi's younger brother. They both,
there is something he's hiding from you. Yeah, that's the feeling. You look at him, it's
it's in his basement.
There's something
and it's
going
got
on
a name that starts with
in
S,
his basement.
Susan. Yeah. Remy Malek. If I saw him and the way he talks in his movies and in his shows, he does have a certain way. I love the guy, by the way. Love him. He'd be fun to talk to, because he also seems just genuinely laid back. So here's the thing, man. When you hear the interviews, Remy doesn't sit there and there's none of the, listen, man, I get it that it's hard. And I'll tell you, being a YouTube, I've vlogged before. I can honestly say there are times where I'm more exhausted by trying to do 7,000 things on a YouTube channel. It can be physically, energy-wise exhausting. But when I hear an actor talk about difficulty, it was difficult. And you're like, yeah, no, I mean, it is, but I get it. But you're not logging. Whatever. So people say the same thing to me. Remy Malek, I don't think I've ever heard him say that. He enjoys talking about the characters he's doing. Yeah. And then it's on to the next thing. And he really he gets excited about something he's doing.
Enjoys but the work.
Yeah. At least the ones I have seen, he's not well, let me tell you about the difficulties of imbibing, this character. And instead, it's more the celebration of just doing it. And I think I appreciate him for that. It's easier to talk to me when you talk that way too. It's not just a falutin pinky up thing. It's that it's easier for me to understand success and happiness and feeling contentment from doing something than it is the difficulty of talking in front of other people and getting paid millions of dollars. There's a dichotomy there, but there isn't a dichotomy in the emotion of doing something successfully. I mean, unless you're unsuccessful, unless you're a Moodski. If you're a Moodski, he would have different. I'm just joking. I'm just taking the piss on him. He seems super weird when I saw him interviewed. Remy Malek always looked like Steve-O from Jackass. That is funny. Yeah, that is funny. All biopics are Oscar bait. I don't watch them. Never thought of it that way. I never gave a fuck. But yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, biopics sort of sit as... I mean, they fit to the Oscars. If Oscars are generally awarding good acting, and the entire story is about you enacting another person and trying to be as close as you can to them, I don't even know if it's bait as much as it's just the focus of the Oscars.
But then aren't you doing yourself a disservice by potentially missing out on some good acting, some good... Unless you're saying they're bad movies and they're just being awarded for the sake of portraying a famous character.
I've seen some really good biopics, and
I've seen some really good ones.
I don't go searching them out. And I've seen some really bad ones. But that's every movie in the world, right?
Yeah, what's the last one? What's the last one you've seen? Maybe the Stephen Hawking one?
I didn't watch that one. The last one might have been Remy's. But I've definitely seen one more recently that was just on TV, and I turned A Beautiful Mind, which is really laid back, not really, it's the same guy's name, but there was took some major conveniences with,
Yeah, Yeah.
That's life. But yeah, I didn't see the
Yeah.
Stephen Hawking one. I'm going to be honest, man. I don't think I knew there was a Stephen
Yeah, I
Hawking.
thought it was pretty good. Yeah.
There's a Stephen Hawking one?
Yeah. There is.
Who played him?
I'm blanking right now. I'm going to need to look
I'll check
it
it
up.
out. Yeah, no, you don't need to look it up. I mean, you can, but I'm just saying I'll check it out. Yeah, I'll check it out. I like those. What else we got?
It was called The Theory of Everything, by the way, if you want to look into it. And the guy was Eddie Redmayne.
Eddie Redmayne played him. Okay, I absolutely do know the movie you're talking about. And no, I have not seen that. But Eddie?
It's been a while. Actually, yeah, it's been like 10 years, man.
Let me tell you something about Eddie, man. Dude, that guy looks like he would be the person I'm talking about that I don't like. Listen to him in interviews.
Like Pinky Up, maybe?
Yes, he is awesome.
He's
Eddie,
Brit.
Dude,
He's like,
I was not expecting him to talk and sort of on Graham Norton, but on even normal, lesser, over-the-top interviews. I was watching him going, dude, he is way not what I expected. He is like, yes, I really, really like that guy. I forgot he was in that.
He's cool.
I gotta watch that. I gotta watch that, man.
He was in The Jackal recently, too.
The TV show?
Did you get a chance to... Yeah, did you get a chance to...
No, I didn't get a chance to see that.
No, okay.
No, but I will.
Cool.
I mean, I'll watch all the, anything. If it's on TV, it's military stuff. I watched, I love Taylor Kitsch from John Carter of Mars. He did the Wolf one that I told you about.
I've seen part of that. Yeah, that's good too. Very good.
Dude, he's a good actor.
I mean, the cast in that is insane, by the way.
In that
with like Chris Pratt.
Yeah, mind-blowing. And even just the side actors did a great job. And nothing. Once you watch it, we'll talk. There's some really good adjustments and twists to the story. That was great. Yeah, that was good. What did we answer Knuckles' question, or did we literally?
I think
just
so, because he asked, your thoughts on Jeremy Allen White.
On my thoughts are I'm fine with it, and I think
he's great. Yeah. Honestly, we just need to see him in more stuff. He does say in his question that he's a bit typecast. I don't know if that's entirely true. We just haven't seen him in a ton of stuff, right? I mean, he did Shameless. He did The Bear.
That's probably on me, but I've only seen him in 3 things ever. Shameless, The Bear, and he's
I just think he hasn't done that much. He's a young dude, right? So he's up and coming for sure.
He talked about leaving Shameless in the Hot Ones, and it was sad as hell because he liked working there. And they all seem to get along. They have cast pictures and stuff at the end where they're all together.
Many years.
Yeah. And he said there's something about that's your group. That's like everything. Even if you go off to do a movie during off season, everybody else is all on off season, you're still talking or whatever. And he said that the day that, it was
it's a wrap.
He said it was the most doubt he ever felt in his life because the doubt was just, it'd be like getting laid off from a job or the job's project being over. We've all had, not all of us, but many of us have had that issue. And it definitely is it can be a time of doubt. Depends on if you planned. But yeah, he's a good actor, man. He's great. His little brother, Cameron, who's in Star Wars video games. And that guy's good. They're all good, man. They're like, Shameless is pretty goddamn good as a show. It's hard to watch.
They had some real talent.
They had some bangers in that. Yeah. Really good actors in that. What else we got?
This one from Sully. He says, not long ago, you talked a little about the merging of sim games. This really piqued my interest, and I was wondering if you could elaborate some more on what you think that they will look like specifically. Thanks.
Do you know what he's talking about? He's talking
I think
about.
This was a side pod you did at some point.
It might have been, but it might have been with you.
Games?
But it's about the idea that at some point, Car Mechanic is going to merge with like AutoZone front storm simulator, which is going to merge with, and we're going to have these games that don't just have the Car Mechanic part, because what we had seen was when the first games came out, it was Car Mechanic. You couldn't even leave the garage. By the time those were at wherever they are now, you test drive the car, you buy the car, you go to a garage, you go to a fucking junkyard to pick up jalopies and bring them back and pick parts out. Like, it's extended beyond anything. Honestly, though, I don't really have much. I mean, dude, I just feel like that's the natural progression of.
Yeah. So doing more of those things, like
being
able to drive to work, or like.
Well, like
pick
the
up some
King
new
game
equipment
that's
for your
coming.
job. And
The King of the
Yeah.
Road game that's coming. That's like a mixture of mud tires and all that. The idea of like doing an ice road truckers where you're not only delivering stuff, you have to take care of your own vehicle on the side of the road, like that kind of stuff. Yeah, I love the idea of it. But I don't know I don't know exactly, other than what I said, like what they would do. That's why I'm not a developer. I was talking about power wash and house flipper. They feel like they could go together. Handyman Simulator would be one that had like 3 or 4 of those games merged into one. And, you flip the house, but you also power wash stuff. You mow the lawn because there was a lawn mowing simulator game. You mix all those together. You could have yourself a blockbuster.
Yeah, absolutely.
God, that'd be fun. I mean, not to do in real life.
And like now you can buy cars. So you drive to work on a better car because you sold a big house, and maybe you can buy better equipment to go,
What do you think that's called? Listen, think about this. Let's say you have the car. Let's say you get car mechanic and you get house flipper and you get power wash simulator and you get lawnmower simulator. You get a game that's got all those. Is that at some point, do you just call it life simulator? Do you call it middle-aged man simulator? Do you call it, what do you call that? Because that would be very difficult to name.
Yeah.
I feel like it would need a name that it could have simulator in it, but I don't know if it would. I feel like that game would be like...
It's almost like real life simulator at some point.
Yeah. No, that's, you know what I mean? Like what, like you could call it,
you go home to a wife.
You could do a cozy
something.
name for it and call it the Good Life Simulator or what, or something to that effect, where like, this is like when things are, or how do you make things work? As Dylan said, midlife, that's what I said. Like you could also have sort of a story where you move to a new town maybe, and you're setting these businesses up. It could be called like Small Business Simulator or something. Like, I don't know. The simulator is a big word to add on to everything else. Odd Job Simulator. Okay. Roadcraft mixed with Divorce Contractor Dad Simulator. Yeah, exactly. Like at some point.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? It's hard to name it because there's like 85 things you're doing. Avoiding real life the game. Yeah, okay. That's true. Yeah. Avoiding real life the game. I mean,
Divorce Dad Simulator. We need like some Breaking Bad soundtrack for that.
Oh, Breaking Bad. Okay, I thought you meant Breaking Bad as in mixing drugs. You mean Breaking Benjamin as in emo music. Yeah. Hey, listen, I sort of like Breaking Benjamin. Just gonna admit.
Dude, me too.
Got a good voice.
I played the shit out of that.
Dude, listen, I tease the emo stuff, but when that shit comes on and I hear his voice,
dude,
it's one of a kind voice. Whether you like it or not, you just listen to it and you're like, damn. You may not like that music or whatever, but it's like Dolly Parton. I don't listen to Dolly Parton very much. She came up in a conversation because the illness. But when I hear her voice, I've just never once been like, is that Taylor Swift? You know what I mean? Like, it's never going to happen. You'd be like, that's Dolly Parton for sure. It's always for sure that it's her. So, yeah. Let's see. Mundane Errands Unlimited Deluxe. Yeah, that would be hard to name. Dude, naming games I always tease because there's some low-hanging fruit, but when you start getting here, that would be hard. That would be really fun to sit down with like 10 or 11 guys and try to come up with a name. Developers, I mean, come up with a name for like a game that encompasses that much stuff.
What I find limiting in those games is that the whole game is about like from A to B, being that's a very small part of the whole thing. So, for example, the card trading, the card store simulator game where, you're buying these cards and you're selling them in the shop, you're arranging the shop.
Yeah.
That part to me is really cool. But I want more because my game starts at the door of the shop and it ends there.
Yeah.
I want to be able to drive my car, go buy some merchandise to sell, go to malls to look for stuff, maybe like talk to some people, have contacts. Like there's so much outside of the shop you could do. And then you drive to the shop, you have your shift there.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's why Car Simulator did that, Car Mechanic, and and now you've got a mech mechanic, or you've got like mech battle mech simulator or mechanic simulator. You've got airplane simulator. You have RC car simulator. You have model simulator or model assembly simulator, something like that. I own that one where you cut the sprues off of plastic models. You actually glue them together, paint them with your paintbrush. Pretty advanced. As somebody who puts together models, it was actually not bad, for what it did. Then Josh played the gun repair simulator. So that genre is commonly referred to as butt rock. Nickelback, Creed, Breaking Benjamin, Stained. Yeah, somebody came up with another genre name because they couldn't just call it rock. Somebody's like, actually, that's
I've
left
heard...
butt cheek, happy slap.
Yeah.
Uber rock. It's like, no, dude, it's rock.
I've heard divorced dad rock.
Yeah. Anything that's derogatory, you're going to hear. Like somebody's going to come up with a way of saying it. That's why it's just, it's rock. Whatever. Deal with it. Trying to think of what else you could. Let's say this. You move to the new city in your jalopy car, and you can choose to put together a PC to run your new business out of, or hire somebody to do that and instead repair your car and get it all set up and get a pickup so you can then put wood and lumber to go then repair your house, and it builds out from there. Or maybe what if a company decides to do games that just merge together as they continue to go on? So it starts... We've seen that with a couple games where one game is by itself and then another game comes and they overlap and they can connect to one another. That could be cool. You could do something like that. There's a low-budget home repairs game now, basically cutting corners. Dude, don't cut corners in your house, please. You buy a home, don't cut corners, trust me. I've been in 2 homes where somebody's cut corners, and it's always passing it on to the next person, which I guess is fine if that's what your plan is, but it's not my plan. Definitely don't cut corners. What else we got?
Well, that's it for questions.
Any topics in there? Because I think the big ones were vampire and tower.
Yeah, we covered pretty much. Yeah, we covered everything in terms of topics there.
Yeah, it's weirdly been sort of a quiet week in just as actual change, which is good because we don't have to read through a list of whatever, like a list of layoffs, which is always nice.
Yeah, a lot of the news has been around layoffs, which is also probably tiring to hear. Here's yet another wave of layoffs.
Yeah, it sucks. What do you got? Anything been going on? Reading anything? Watching anything? Listening to anything? Learn anything new? Or has it been just one of those weeks where you don't do anything? You shut your brain off. You're like, I want to learn.
Week's been a bit rough, man. I have to admit. I was sick as a dog midweek. Some type of food poisoning. I'm not sure
what happened there. That sick? Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I couldn't operate for an entire day. And I had a bunch of stressful stuff to do. But I'm better on the other end of it. And I'm on holiday next week. So full week off work to relax next week.
Can I just say that I'm sure you didn't do it on purpose, but when you said better on the other end, it made me crack up. Better on the other end after having diarrhea for multiple days.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I did see that Nor did ask a question, though. He said, Arc Raiders, think it will explode or implode, and why? I don't know if you saw that one.
Oh, I skipped it because we kind of talked about it, but that's not entirely fair because he did ask something there.
I don't really see it. I mean, obviously there's people playing, I don't really see it going away, but I do see that people are going to report when it drops numbers because inevitably some other game is going to come up. That game can be fucking Monopoly. Yeah. We just have all of these situations where people have a tendency to use those numbers as either look how good we are or use these numbers as look how bad this is. When in real life, it's pretty normal to have a game drop off. And so I don't see any reason why that game would have a problem because it's the finals devs, which they're very good. They've done a good job with the finals, despite, they've had some issues with, as any online game does. I don't know let me ask you a question because I say it a lot of times and I don't know if we've talked about it in here. I know on the side podcast, I did an entire spiel on it, but my personal belief, and it feels backed up by what we're looking at with numbers for the last 5 years, is that the extraction genre has an incredible amount of PR making you believe that the total number of Extraction players is much higher than it truly is. And that Extraction players, for whatever reason, it's either the number is low or they don't have a tendency to leave whatever game they're playing. Either or maybe a combination of both. But I feel like if you look at the numbers and you start to track, it feels like the audience is smaller than the games and the number of games and the desire for the developers to try to get people to play. Actually, that realistic number seems to be different. So that's the only thing I worry about is maybe Extraction takes more. It's not easy to jump into. I mean, Extraction, when you play an Extraction, definitely. There's a time limit.
It's a hardcore genre.
Yeah, there's a time, right? A minimum time. It's not just jumping into an MP and, blasting through. It's like, it's a different thing. And it's got single player, which is huge. We know about that, though. If that single player game was a Ubisoft game, you'd have people going, oh my God, I can't believe you have to connect online to a single player game. But because it's these guys, nobody's going to bitch about it, which that does bother me a little bit because I'm like, hey, let's bitch about everybody. Let's not pretend.
It's also the expectation of the genre, right? They know, like people just know that's what the games are like. So in some sense, they are spoiled.
But you would say the same thing with an online-only racing game, that if that were true, then they probably would treat that the same. Yeah. But that's life. That's the way it is.
Yeah, it should. Sometimes it's not fair in that way.
I
think
fair.
They will do well, by the way.
Yeah.
I think that one, the reception from the gameplay itself was really positive. And that's always a big thing because that's what gets people coming back, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like if the gameplay is really good, gets people talking about it, I think that to me will still resonate whenever it comes out eventually.
Yeah, I think
because there aren't that many Extraction games.
No,
if you
but
don't
there
go
aren't that
full
many Extraction
Tarkov,
players. When you look at see, that's the thing is like we've got some huge games, Hunt, Showdown.
Yeah,
you've got you've got Tarkov. You've got, Tarkov. You've got others, and it's like it makes me wonder. And then you have other games coming out. So what I'm doing is merging your discussion earlier about 30 games coming out on Game Pass or whatever. All these games are coming out not just on Game Pass, but these last 2 months are pretty packed. And you may buy the game, but you may not be able to engage in the game, or you may have a problem with an online service. And you may be like, oh, I'll come back to this game. And then people report that because you bought it and didn't play to it, oh, look, everybody's leaving the game in droves. And you're like, no, they're doing what's pretty normal now. It feels like gamers are definitely more transient than we were in the past. That it's more movement, more... There's too much to sample, and they're good games. There's a lot of good games.
Yeah, there's always a new shiny thing.
Yeah, and it's not just shiny like tangential. It's not good shiny. It's the fact that like we're gonna have 3 huge shooters in a 1 month period, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And if you tell me about a good game, and I look at it and it looks good, it's not just a shiny thing. It's also a pull whenever a bad thing happens. It's a little bit like Tinder for games, where if you're dating somebody and you're unhappy, you just go to Tinder and start swiping. And games, you go to Steam, you start swiping. You have an issue with the game does... Dude, okay, let me give you an example. A couple days ago, we were in chat and YouTube went down. And the people were flummoxed. Completely did not know what to do with themselves. They were reporting to one another that their YouTube was down. It's like, we know fucking YouTube's down. Why do you guys... They were coming into chat to go, guys, YouTube's down. It's like, Jesus Christ, you're not the internet. What are you doing? Everyone's like, the internet... No, seriously, YouTube's down. What do we do? And then about 2 minutes later, they jumped to, of all things, Twitch and the other services. And you're like, yeah, that's what happens. Is there's that moment of difficulty. And then boom. And then what happens yesterday? A bunch of people said, oh, you know what? I found a bunch of shit on Twitch. And I said, have you seen this YouTube video? And they're like, no, I've been watching Twitch. And I'm like, that's what happens. It takes one bump before somebody, they switch over. It's like they need that dopamine.
Yeah, it can be like that with a game. Maybe you get a crash or like you hit a difficulty wall and you just, boom, uninstall.
Yep. So, I mean, it's the same thing I do with wives, apparently. What did that one guy say? I remember the guy on Reddit had said, I think I was married 7 times or something like that.
Yeah, the allegations.
The sincere... I was like, dude, that would be... That would be atrocious. That's Jennifer Lopez numbers, because I think Jen is like she's a high scorer. She's got she's batting well over 500. She's at like
she's been
5?
through the
And she's not paying to anybody else because she always picks rich people to marry. So she's not getting cut in half like the guy would in a normal, like if you how you normally see alimony and child payments like split up. She's probably coming out of that just like, I fucked Ben Affleck, motherfuckers.
Because she was rich already, right? Before all of those.
Rich beyond belief. Yeah.
Like super rich.
A super talented person, man. She's like insanely talented.
Yeah, because she did movies, she did music, obviously. Like,
she was Jenny on the Block. Okay, sorry. Anyway.
She was. It's always crazy to me, the people that can do multiple.
Absolutely.
Completely different crafts. Because there's like no transition between being a singer and an actor.
That is true. That is true. Like, and you'll
right?
and you notice transfer. When you get a singer who can't act, or you get a wrestler who can't fight.
Because that's the normal.
Exactly. And you get that you definitely see it not pan out more than you see it pan out. The reason why we notice her or some of these people is because it does pan out, and it is sort of an anomaly, unless it's pushed by Hollywood, which you do see sometimes. Lady Gaga, I would say, was probably pushed pretty hard by.
She was good.
She's a good actress, but
she was also good. I think
she was, but she was pushed very much hard. So she's a lot like Sydney Sweden, right? Is that her name? The blonde. Dude, her PR company is one of the best I've ever seen because her face was on everything. It was ridiculous. It was like it was such a hard push to see if they could get her into like the, I guess you'd say like the, I don't know, Jennifer Aniston kind of thing. Where it's like, can do a little bit of everything. It's like, not so much. Jennifer Aniston couldn't either. So I don't know why you guys are trying to push somebody in Jennifer Aniston's role. Sorry, she can't act. She's not very good, at least. Servant. Oh yeah, just like Will Smith. Yeah, he was definitely multi-talented. I actually liked Will Smith not only in this show but in a couple movies he did. He did a couple that were very good, and then sing/pop rap, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what his rap is called. I don't know what you call his rap. I didn't follow it.
There's
probably a genre that's very specific for his rap.
Right?
Softcore, movie-based pop rap is what we'll call it. What were you saying? Sorry.
No, he had some success, regardless of
a ton. Yeah, no, he did.
I don't really like it personally, but
his music, dude. I grew up.
Yeah, I just wasn't my thing.
Just don't understand was pretty rocking when I was little then, like little, super young. But I remember liking that. But yeah, I mean, his stuff is movie based a lot of times, or it was. I remember the Men in Black. Whatever, rap for the Men in Black, and he's dancing with aliens, and you're like, hey, whatever, it works, it's the way it is. It works.
Yeah, it worked in the context.
Yeah, for sure. I can't do it. So, I mean, maybe I could. I'm just joking. I can't. Boom, 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 shake, shake the room. Can't believe I read that out loud. Jeremy Renner's got music?
Does he?
William Shatner's got music. I mean, having music and having good music are dramatically
true. Those are different things.
Yeah. If there's a bright spot in the universe, William Shatner's is the farthest away.
Okay, that's harsh.
Yeah, dude.
Speaking of the universe, I've been reading a bit this week about the multiverse interpretation of quantum mechanics, which is kind of mind-blowing. I mean, what do you make of that? Because I understand what Neil deGrasse Tyson says, that the universe is in no obligation to make sense to you.
Yeah.
That's fine. But we live in a timeline where the most parsimonious or like simple interpretation of quantum mechanics is that like every moment you're having... magic happens and you're having the universe literally branch into and create a completely second universe where like that one molecule did something different or whatever. And it's boxes filled with cats metaphorically all the way down. And this is happening all the time. And somehow this is the simplest interpretation that follows from the equation.
Yeah.
How can we even think about that?
I think with like Hubble tension and stuff, they'll probably find out that we've been wrong on a number of things. Hubble tension has shrunk a little bit in its difference between the expectation versus what we saw, which shrinking down means now your theories may still be right, but multi-dimensional stuff has really died out, like especially when it comes to quantum. Like there's a lot of discussion around if it does split, the other universe is destroyed instantly and you're still back in yours. So it's like it splits like a moment of practical possible future, and it's split and then destroyed in the same way quantum comes in and out. And it's like there is no other universe. It's just
no, that's right. Even without the thing about like being destroyed, the other universe is completely outside of you can't access it in any way. So for any practical purposes, you only have the universe you're in now. It's not like in the movies where, you know, you can go to a second universe with Carrick B that has like a different beanie or whatever.
I think especially when you look at how our science works and the little bit we understand, the simplest explanation would be that if you carry with our universe's fit, all that we know, that it does destroy it, that if there is one, it would just destroy itself. That actually makes more sense than it existing in a membrane infinitely deep with infinite universes versus just...
It just keeps going. It's more and more.
And that we're quantum, meaning we're the quark, or we're the quantum bit, that moves between them, and that the universe is just... And so wherever we're switching is where it is. That's it. And we're popping in and out to those different ones, exactly like quantum. And so that sort of explains like the worries of, would there be any way to see it? Would it matter? A lot of people say it doesn't matter to even talk about it because, we'll never interact with it.
Since we can't access those other universes, it doesn't matter.
But I will just tell you this, though. I told you this a couple months ago, and I feel like I'm backed up on this, but I could be wrong. A couple months ago, I told you it is quite weird that all of a sudden, as we're able to see farther away, we're seeing things we should have seen up close. And that was a part of the simulation theory, which is that you basically are seeing the world drawing in front of you. And
it's like rendering the bits.
And so we're starting to see, for example, the 5 or 6 super fast objects that have passed by. The one with the weird name, Oumuamua, and then the one that's there now. Yeah. So you get these people talking about it, and they're like, it is odd that we're seeing it. But one of the theories, just a random discussion that I did like, and it's sort of scary, but I did like, which is that it is odd that if you look back in history, you have these human bottlenecks. So, for instance, there was like, I think when they look at DNA prior to this point, the DNA indicates there's about 1 million people on Earth. Then suddenly there was less than 2,000 total humans, and that's the DNA we're in. And it was a certain time that seems cyclical. And it's like now we're seeing these super fast objects, and it's like, are we entering the debris field as we circle? Because weirdly enough, it corresponds with returning back to a particular part. And it's like, are we actually just going through a debris field, and that's what continually like pops the Earth? And that's why you're seeing like they were timing one of the ones that recently came through, and they're like, we've never seen anything move that fast. Like it legitimately makes no sense compared to the other stuff we've seen. It doesn't make any sense. But now we're seeing one every like 2 or 3 weeks they find another one, and they're finding them with the same instruments, and so it feeds back into the simulation thing too. It is sort of weird where and so one day I went into ChatGPT and I was like, okay, I need to know the data on each one of these, and then I need you to describe to me on the Earth where they're coming in towards us so I can identify if they're all coming from the same local area of space. And it was like, no, it was all one would be Florida, the other would be Sweden. They're not really coming in like, let's say the planet's doing this and they're all coming in on this side, right? Which would be a little scary because you'd be like, that might be troublesome. That might indicate we're heading into something. But at the same time, they're traveling so fast that like who knows what's behind us, because there are a lot of places we can't see with our telescopes because of where they are on the Earth. We don't look in certain places. We're trying to look everywhere. But it's an interesting thought, and it wasn't just one of the astrophysicists who were looking at that going, what does that mean for like where we're headed towards in just space, in debris fields, in the crater, because some things have always seemed odd. They're always looking for another planet. It's like maybe there was is that sucker coming back at the speed of one of these comets? And suddenly somebody's going to be like, we got something coming towards us. What is it? A planet. Galvatron. No, it wasn't Galvatron. Who was it in Transformers? It was Unicron. Was a planet-sized robot that could transform. God, I love that guy. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like that, all that kind of stuff is just. Oh, I found interesting the one electron theories. That dude, man. When I was growing up, I remember hearing about that all the time. The one I mean, they debunked it, but like the idea of it was, I thought was awesome. Which is just one electron is in the entire universe, just popping up wherever it's needed. It's like that's sort of cool. I love the idea of that.
What do you think would be the chance if there is somewhere out there some massive galactic civilization with like Dyson spheres around suns and these, colossal
a true
things,
space dynasty kind of
like sci-fi stuff? What would be the chance, do you think, that we would actually be able to see it? Because we can't look everywhere. I mean, I guess we've tried to look everywhere, but some stuff we just can't see.
Not only that, but we're in this small time frame of only having 100 years of telescopes, or 150.
Right.
So it's like, what did I was joking with Josh a couple months ago where I was like, what if they died one day before we got our telescopes?
Sure. Lucky.
And or you always hear, well, the universe should be filled with radio stations and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, one, if they use radio, and they're like, and what's so funny is you'll hear a scientist say a dichotomy in the same sentence. They'll say, yeah, who's to say alien races will be anything like us? Why are they not using radio? And I'm like, bitch, you can't have both, man. You can't have, what, dude, what the fuck? Because you'll hear Neil deGrasse Tyson say it all the time. It'd be like, blah, 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 but then blah, blah, blah. And you'd be like, dude, what are you doing? Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense to package those together. In fact, the more you say something's alien, dude, what if there's people on planets that don't have enough hard rock materials to make the fuel? Because remember, without the destruction of forests, the destruction of life, we wouldn't have oil.
Sure.
It could be very, very normal to see a ton of like civilizations out there that just don't have the raw resources that we do. We're on the one planet where it's on top. Because one of the things that scared me is they were talking about nuclear war, and they were saying they don't even need a big one to really fuck up future, because our actual ability to repair destroyed buildings has already gone down dramatically because of our building and what we do. And if you did have a destruction like Ukraine, where you have to go in and rebuild, to get that, you have to dig deeper and deeper and deeper, which takes longer. And then you have to build things to allow you to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And there's a big worry that like what is available to us becomes unavailable by sheer law of, energy and what you have to build and what you have to go down. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just want to see us launch a dude to Mars. I told the guys yesterday, I was like, if I die and we've launched a dude to Mars and he doesn't come back, I'd still be okay. I want to see somebody get to Mars. Like Elon could probably get somebody to Mars today. They just wouldn't be coming back, and they wouldn't be landing slowly. They would be... They'd go to Mars. We'll just say that. We'll go as far as to say he could probably figure out a way
have the tech?
Pretty easily.
I mean, he's got the
tech to get somebody to Mars.
Landing rockets.
But he's got a catcher and shit. He doesn't have one that lands on Mars perfectly. He's got one that's got. And by the way, they've missed their own ship.
Yeah. I mean,
that's why
I think, aren't they pretty good now?
Well, Elon just had a couple explode recently, like within the last 3 months, taken off. So here's what you do, dude. You go out there and you find a bunch of people. So as somebody who's had this illness, I'm just going to speak from my behalf. If I had a cancer that was terminal, but one of the cancers that's terminal, and you go in because you're a little tired, but you're still fine, right? Those type of cancers where it'll be aggressive. I'd be like, okay, Elon, launch me to Mars. So you go out there and you find 50 of those, because 49, they're probably going to be craters. Like, sorry, we're going to miss some stuff. You need to
play the numbers.
Got to play the numbers. You get 50 chances, and you just trebuchet somebody to fucking Mars. I hope that happens. I want to see somebody. I would, dude. If I die and we've landed on Mars, that would be cool. I would love to just have us land on Mars. I think that would be awesome. I mean, going back to the moon is great too. But
no, it is. Yeah, but it's so much harder though. Like, because Mars, we need the perfect launch window.
Yeah,
don't
it's
we?
only 3 months out of the year.
Right, because otherwise Mars is not going to be there when we
It's way
arrive.
too far away.
It's way too far away, right? If you don't have the optimal. So that's tough. And I think you end up needing like 3 years, don't you? To kind of wait until Mars is in position.
Yeah, it's like there's 3 or 4 different little windows that combine to be like, this is the thing. Rogerio says, I think it's possible to have advanced cultures and even spacefaring ones, but they would still face our limitations like light speed. Exactly. And by the way, once again, what will you hear scientists say? Well, they don't have to be anything like us, but they would build self-replicating robots and they should have already filled the universe. And you're like, dude, fuck. If they don't have the sheer desire to explore like we do, let's say they get a planet that doesn't have 9 moons around or 9 other planets. They may think everything is so far away. Imagine our politics. Imagine our politics right now if we didn't have the other planets. We're still whatever else has to be working out so we can still exist. You got the moon and you have the Earth, and you happen to be lucky enough that Jupiter didn't need to suck up all the other asteroids, and you have Earth as a planet with just the moon. Our politics would be completely different by the sheer fact that things to get to would be too far away. We might look at building space stations more, for sure. But if there's nothing there, I mean, half of what we use is like, or half of what we discuss is going to the closest planet, and even that's hard. Or imagine you have a couple planets, but it's just Jupiter and it's a gas giant. What would you do? You could talk about putting a space satellite around Jupiter to study it, but then you have to be a planet that's politics consistently want science to be elevated. And we know we don't,
because we're not talking about going to Jupiter. I mean, that's out of the
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Dude, going to Jupiter. I think it was massive. Well, some games have had you land like on a space station near like a gas planet. I've always thought I love the idea of like giant bay windows. I'm probably because I do DMing. I'm always thinking the visual. And I love the idea of you land on that giant space station and they figured out transparent glass and all these chemicals that can make it super strong and you can see through it. And like the idea of standing on this viewing dais and seeing like the great red spot or just now, by the way, it'd probably make me piss myself because that's like 3 phobias 100%. In one.
Just the magnitude of it.
I don't know if I have one of those phobias, but I feel like I would. Yeah. But the idea, the magic of standing there and the cosmic feeling of like, holy shit, this planet is, what did they say? It's like, is it 360 or something like that? Earth's in it. I think it's more.
We can't even process that. Hold.
Yeah, like, that would be so great,
in our
though.
Heads, man.
It would be so amazing to like. It would be amazing if we figured one thing out. What I mean by that is one thing that allowed us before I die. One thing that allows us to like even travel to interplanetary a little bit faster or with success. Because you brought something up, which is he's had success, and I'm like, boy, that's sad that we have been launching rockets at each other for fucking almost more than 100 years, and we can't figure out how to consistently launch without exploding. That's
true. And
where you see Star Trek, that's the one thing they have over us, or Star Wars, where they can suffer damage, they can still fly apart, they can, or they can still fly away, they can, land on different planets. We haven't really figured out just how to even take off without exploding all the time.
No, dude,
that would be great.
It's like Kerbal Space Program.
It is every time
when you're just trying to make it to orbit without exploding.
Dude,
and
it's
then
crazy.
We'll go from there.
And they do everything. They do I mean, in no way, shape, or form am I dissing on Russia, China, whatever. They all have the same thing, which is a Russian, missile launched today to launch a satellite and blew up in space. And you're like, or blew up on the launch pad or whatever. And you're like, Jesus, still? That would be a big technological advancement, because do you know how much money they lose too? Because they're almost never empty, because even the test ones now, they want to launch with something to pay some bills. So they'll go to a telecom company or something. They'll be like, hey, do you want to foot a quarter of the payment and we'll throw a satellite up there? And that thing blows up on the goddamn, that blows up on the shuttle pad as well. And you're just like, dang, man, that sucks. What comes first, GTA 7 or us landing on Mars? Okay, so it was 10. It was 10. What is it? 11, 10, 11 years, 13 years. GTA 5. What's GTA 5's release date? Was that? Okay, let's add 10 though, because GTA 7 will take even longer. We would land on Mars. Yeah. I think we'll land on Mars before GTA 7 comes out, if we're still here, right?
Okay.
Doesn't that seem?
So within 10 years?
No, because GTA 6 isn't out yet. So I'm going from GTA 6's launch of next year.
Okay.
And then you add, at minimum, GTA 6's tech time.
Another 10.
Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying?
You go like to 2037.
If we can't figure out a way to get, like, my assumption would be if we don't by then, we're either not here. Politics has destroyed space. Debris has destroyed space, which is a real issue. No, people talk about, but needs to be talked about more, which is that we have so much debris, it's becoming quite difficult to launch stuff. That could happen for sure. Debris sucks, man, because like you don't think about that shit. Just like oil, you find it, it burns. You're like, oh wow, this is great, and you don't realize 100 years later. Like people will be like, I blame last generation. It's like, bitch, you should blame the generation that fucking originally created it and started burning it day one. Like we can't just blame one particular group. It's like we found something that worked. We used it and found out later PFCs, which is the shit that was in propellant for spray cans and stuff, created the ozone layer. Nobody knew that. I mean, you're just like, dude, I got spray paint in a can. That's fucking wicked. Now I can spray paint over the top of something and change the color. And we're all like, oh, great, I'll use spray paint. And then you find out, oh, yeah, well, that destroyed your future. That's the other thing. How many civilizations had no plan to destroy their future, were peaceful as hell, and just by sheer technological advancement destroyed their future? Like just by doing whatever they did to get to that point, burning fuel, adjusting weather, whatever, ended up causing their places. I think that's probably your truth. That to me feels much more truthful, that by the sheer advancement of technology, every race or every civilization would get off their planet, or they either get off the planet or they destroy it, because living in perfect harmony, dude, come on. How many times have you heard those rumors too? People be like, well, technically native, races and all these islands lived in perfect harmony, and they're fucking like pushing fucking bison off of cliffs and shit. Did you mean to hit that?
That was my cat.
Was that your cat? Sorry, everybody. That's going to be loud. I'm hoping for the dinosaur comet before 2030. People blame the Saudis. Yeah, exactly. Everything's everybody else's fault. But no, I do think that would, it seems truthful, right? That just by sheer living, because dude, you hear that all the time. Everybody.
I think that's likely, it's the great filter thing where I think you just get to a point where.
And it doesn't have to be a comet. It can be quite simply you lose control of the environment, and then.
Yeah.
By the way, look at
humans.
Or you like
run out of resources. Or
a naked human has one of the smallest temperature windows of all species for what it can live in without like cover or whatever. And remember, it takes us years to learn to walk. So it's like if every nation or if every race is like that, the brain has to do with surface area.
We need to be coddled into maturity.
That's why I think some of the space race TV shows and books that I love is when like one of the races has a brood, or in some way has a has many children, because it's usually that indicates a dangerous environment, and genetically your body figures out I need more babies to create more chance of my DNA continuing. But I've always liked the idea of like the alien races that have a brood, and so there's like 15 kids. 7 of them make it, 3 of them do really well, and that's why that race excels. There's a couple, Babylon 5, or sorry, not Babylon 5, but Farscape, one of my favorite shows, has like Rigel, who I think has like 1,000 kids, or maybe 1 million, I don't remember, but a lot. And it was just like, because that's what happens, is you have to have a lot to go forth and multiply and spread. Hamsters are tough. They can handle 10 times the alcohol limit of people. Dude, that means somebody actually shoved enough alcohol down a hamster's throat. I hate that shit. Like, I like the idea that they can, but at the same time, I'm like, seriously, man? That poor hamster. That's a job I could never have. Lab technician in an animal testing facility. I understand why it's done.
Suffer a lot, right?
I understand why it's done. absolutely cannot handle it. Yeah.
No.
Why do you always use the alien-looking weird-ass emoji, by the way? Have you noticed that? He always uses that. I don't even know what it's from, but it looks like the guy broke his arm. It's like a dude with like an
he's trying to say hi,
wrist.
But he's dislocated his wrist.
Oh, to fit in the space of an emoji. So that's why it looks all, because it's only got a certain height.
Yeah.
So it's like,
or
hello.
He's trying to flex his bicep. He's like, hello, like fully flexing.
Pretending to point to something where he's like, over there.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah.
Over there. Yeah. WWE wrestler style. Hamsters are the master race, though. Dude, hamsters die quick. Once you test them, you can make skewers. Oh, dude, you know what? Speaking of barbecue, man, a couple days ago, I made a delicious barbecue, and it was only like 70 minutes cooked, overcooked. About 70, because I fucking walked away from the barbecue and forgot. This steak, listen, the steak started as well, it was 2-3 pounds. It was a big steak. It was thick as marble.
Whoa.
And I told you I'm not a big fan of rare, so I was like, I put it on there.
Yeah, you like the well done.
Yeah, I like it to cook. So I put it on there. Fucking walk in here and somebody's doing a goddamn FMV game, and I've got a review, and I just did what I just put my head down, and all of a sudden I go like, and we had just talked about burning stuff a couple days prior in the Discord, and I was like, it smells like burning, man. Maybe it's my computer. So I started looking at the cables. I was like, is something warm that happens? And I was like, oh my God, did I cook a steak? And I got up there, and I'm telling you, it's a really great indicator of what a dehydrated human would look like, or mummified, because it had gone from this juicy, thick. And we're talking easily that
jerky.
big. No, this is a massive steak. Like, I buy them big, like $35, and I buy them like once every 2 weeks. I cook them up, slice them. That thing was this fucking big, dude. It was inedible, and it was not meat anymore. It was like charcoal. You could have just
transcended into the next.
It had transcended. It had just
gone
to this other place, man. It was like the aliens in Cocoon. Yeah. It's too old for you, but if anybody's seen Cocoon, you know what I mean. Yeah, it was just absolutely crazy. I saw a video on Reddit of a 6-year-old or some age that's incredibly old for a hamster and looked awful, decrepit. Oh, the animal got to be 16 or 6? Oh, is that old for a hamster? I feel like hamsters and gerbils die pretty easy too. Like, I've had some friends who had gerbils, and I'm always like, oh, hey, like, how's the gerbil been, or how's your family been, or whatever, and they're like, yeah, I'm on my third gerbil. Yeah, I'll be like, dude. Or people are just really bad with gerbils. One of the two.
Well, that could be too. Yeah, no, but I think they die pretty easy.
Yeah, like, it's like a weak fish. Or I raised finches. I've told you about that, and they died. Finches are hard to keep alive. They are really weak, really pretty birds, amazing sound, and you absolutely have to watch them 24/7 because they ain't the smartest, and they also are a prey bird, so they won't ever show you they're sick, and they will fall and die in front of you. They'll just be looking.
Wow.
They'll be like, chirp, 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 chirp.
Totally fine. Totally fine.
They're dead. And you're like, what the fuck? I'm not lying, man. I walked out of our kitchen where we had one hanging up, and in a cage, and we had a big cage. I don't like that shit creeps me out. It's like having a beta. People be like, you can put it in a cup. Fuck you, man. You can put anything in a cup. Hell, you can put me in a cup. I'd be dead. The idea of having a beta in a cup always bothers me. So I buy bigger cage, bigger things, make a section for them to have. So this finch, I had like a big, nice cage for it, had spaces for it to feel safe. I swear to God, I walked away, and 5 minutes later I come in, and he was head first in the water bowl, just dead. And he'd been singing that when I left. He's just like, chirp, 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 fuck it. Boom. And he just cratered.
So it's like completely fine, dead.
Yeah. It's like, we joke about your body is like, it's amazing. And it's also an absolute disaster. Like, it'll just kill you without hesitation, or it'll keep you alive through the craziest shit. That's like a finch. They're alive, they're fine, then they're dead. Grizzly Reaper says, Carrick and Johnny, time for a deep philosophical question to end on. Is morality objective, exists in nature, not by man, by relative man-made? Yeah, morality is, I would say morality overall only exists because of our otherwise you're talking pure science, math, and lack of morality.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
No, I agree with that completely. I think where it becomes objective is when we can agree on some basic reference points. Like, we're trying to have people to more or less have a good human experience and not suffer horribly at all times. I think if you can kind of agree on some of those like foundational things, then you can say, okay, let's work from there to avoid those really bad states. And then there are objective things you can say about the human experience that will get you away from that bad extreme towards the good one. That's where I think it's a bit more objective, but it is all up to us, right? There's nothing a rock will tell you about.
I think
what's right.
Once any species knowingly affects the science of the world prior to it being there, morality comes into it. So the science is how the world works. Math is how the world works. Once you get into it, and then once you affect it and knowingly affect it, that's when morality starts to build up, because that's only the way. So once you affect birth rate, once you affect marriage or sex and how you change that instantly, that's because that is, you are quite literally changing. Like, if let's say we don't have the brains to think about fucking, we just do. Like, you're an animal, you just blah blah blah, and then suddenly you're like, you're picking and choosing, and you're objectively picking the weaker ones sometimes because you like the look or blah blah blah. That's when suddenly morality comes into it, because the moment you do that, you have to be like, well, don't I care about my offspring being the strongest, which it would indicate I would go with the scientific, and therefore now you're instantly into morality. But yeah, it's a weird, I mean, dude, morality is just it's obviously a made up word, but it's a made up word for a really good human rule, which is to make sure that, suffering is, you would hope suffering's mitigated, but it is quite difficult to make it.
Do you think that it naturally evolves in a good direction?
No, I think it naturally evolves via the science and the usage of something. So when you look at something and say, we need more people, what do we do to change things so that we have more people? That's when morality comes into it, and it won't always be good. In fact, many times it wouldn't. Like, survival of the fittest is a word created by us to mimic science and what occurred prior. So we say survival of the fittest, but we also know that it doesn't always happen. Even in the animal world, it doesn't always happen, whether it be because of a location or what have you. It doesn't always happen. Yeah. Or you have a genetic fuck up where one just decides to bang the, matter of fact, there's a couple birds that will like have sex with a particular plant, and they will stop breeding. Sloths do that. Sloths are too lazy sometimes to breed, so they go out. Cheetahs have a huge issue with breeding pool right now because they are sickly. They're not actually what you see in movies and shit like that. They're not doing incredibly well. And so we go in and we adjust it or whatever. But in all honesty, man, it's like the moment you make any effect, it just pops up. It just pops up because you're making a choice on something, and you can't really make it with, I mean, you can make it based purely on science, but then shit goes really weird. Yeah. Like, shit goes really weird if you made it like some really uncomfortable shit would pop up if we went purely on science, right? Because that means I wouldn't breed, wouldn't even have a chance. Like, if we were going just pure on science and on like having kids,
sure,
how many people would have the ability to pair off if we went by like pure genetic stock that was the strongest to live in a particular time? And then that would change, and depending on where they are,
we're no longer being selected in that way.
Yeah.
Right? Because we can bypass some of those shortcomings. Like, my walking sucks, for example, but I have a decent job. I can actually bypass a lot of the problems that come with that.
Yeah.
Whereas if I was in the jungle, like in the Serengeti, I'm just fucked. Right?
Yeah.
Like, so yeah,
or if you're in the Serengeti, you are the
then.
one who invents some kind of amazing crawler that lets you go faster, and then you get a hottie because she's impressed, and suddenly you're passing on your flawed genes to a bunch of kids. But then because she's got good genes, you guys end up getting...
Day two of that pursuit, I'm already dead. I'm being chased down by like a jaguar.
Yeah.
And then shot at by armed gang members.
Which animal would you want to, we were talking about this before, which animal would you want to be killed by the least?
Oh.
What would be the toughest kill? let's say it's Johnny out in any area you want to pick from the world, and you're like, I don't want to die by blank. And it can't, let's not go gross, like, getting humped by an elephant. I'm talking about like attacked, or it can be trampled. But what's the animal that you're like, please God, let it not be blank?
Yeah. I think it's got to be either a massive snake or a crocodile. Because there's something about the scales and the lizardy and the water.
And twisting you, both of them. One twists around you, the other one likes to do the old roll and tear you apart.
Yeah, I think those are probably terrible.
You might be right with the snake. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think the snake sucks.
It's slow.
Because aren't you getting like digested in there?
Well, not only digested,
in the
but
juice.
They're slow. Every time you breathe in, they coil because they're instinctively coil every time. So like you'd be getting crushed, and then you'd be like calling for help, and then you couldn't. Be kicking your little baby legs, trying to get out of there, and it'd be crushing that. Every time you even slightly moved, it would crush on.
I'm imagine like a cartoon with your
cartoon baby
your
legs.
feet
Suddenly
outside
Johnny
of the
is
snake.
a 6 foot tall human, but the bottom half is just baby legs. So he's like
just
5 feet of upper body and only 1 foot of legs.
Yeah.
Little baby legs. No, I mean, it would suck. I would say also, this is just gonna sound weird, but I've seen it happen and it haunts me. Hyenas and hyenas in particular. Dude, that's some pack animals. That's some rough shit, man.
Sure,
like, that's some nature.
Because they're nibbling at you.
Yeah, they're nibbling.
It's slow.
I've seen stuff I'm not even going to repeat, and I'm just like, that's raw. Yeah, so that the easiest would be something like easiest would be rough because humans are pretty hardy. I mean, we've seen people live through like falls from 10 stories or whatever. And they're like 2 years later, they're all, but they're still alive. And you're like, are you sure you want to be? Did somebody save you? And maybe you had hoped they hadn't killed you. The best would probably be, piranhas would suck. Christ. That's a pack animal underwater. God, that would suck.
Yeah, no, underwater is
and that would take
horrible.
forever because, dude, you got a lot of body mass, a lot of blood. That would take a long, even though there are stories about the big big swarms. They've done tests on that now, and they're like, those swarms that big to take a human down, they do exist, but they're not everywhere. I'd get the one that was just big enough to debilitate me and then nibble me slowly. I'd get the small... I'd get the baby pack of piranha that were out like 18-year-old kids on their first drinking binge, and they're like just nibbling at you, and you're like, no, but you can't get away because they've taken just enough blood. You try to get up on the dock, and they're like, and they pull you back down. That would suck. Dude, you know what else would suck?
Fine-tuning it.
Dude, a giant squid.
Most painful.
Giant squid are already scary as shit.
Illithid,
like that thing, you're like, let's say you're just sitting on the beach and you see that sucker and sticks on the side of your face. You're like, what the fuck? And pulls you in, and like eight arms, all with their own mini brain, just
like crushing you.
That's
bad.
That's bad.
I think underwater just amplifies the horribleness.
Dude. And come on, listen, dude, Johnny, how many fucking times are you gonna have to hear some jackaninny try to tell you drowning is a peaceful way to die? You hear it all the time. And then you hear fishermen. I lived in one of the biggest, like, overall fishing driven communities that exists on the Pacific Northwest coast. And you will always hear any story of a person who almost drowned and was saved telling you it is nightmarish. It is the worst. It's burning. It's agony. Yeah. And you'll hear like the romanticized will be like, drowning is a peaceful. You just let go. And it's like, after you breathe in a gallon of water, you cough it up, your fucking lungs are freaking out. It's salt water, so it burns. Your eyes
Everything burns and hurts.
You're screaming underwater going the entire time. That's not peaceful. That's the opposite of peaceful. It's complete. No. Do you know how I'd want to die though? I'd go to sleep. That'd be great. Or if I was in an airplane, it exploded and was on fire, and I hit the water, and then a shark ate me, because sharks deserve a hot meal once a life. Like one time, they should get a hot meal to see what it's like. What were we gonna say?
Ow! Yeah, no, that's sad to think about.
Well, I mean,
if you're an old man, okay, you've lived a great life, and you're having sex with a really attractive partner.
I mean,
and
Yeah,
you
of
get
course.
a heart attack, and you're gone. It doesn't even hurt. It's like it's quick because your heart sucks already.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need a big push to just call it in. It's like, now we're done.
Can I just say,
and you lived a great life?
Can I point one thing out though? If I hate the term during sex, because I would be super disappointed if I didn't have the ending before I died.
Oh, really?
Yeah, okay. I know that sounds weird, but
that's a bit selfish.
It is very selfish. But I'm gone. Yeah. I can be selfish, but when somebody says during sex, it's like, what part? The time where I'm flipping them over, or the time where they got me in a chokehold? I was thinking the opposite who knows way. If you like that kind of stuff? It's like, hey.
I was thinking I'm gonna be selfless, and I wouldn't want to die while sex, because then I might like pee myself or something when I die, and I'm like with the person. You know what I mean? That would be a terrible experience for them.
I like to think I was thinking about them before I have sex, because it's very painful not having done
especially at that age.
Oh, dude.
Because every time could be your last.
Nobody can figure out why you have a shitter in every single room. Yeah. And you're like, listen, I bang a lot. I got to pee a lot. I'm getting old. Prostate's the size of a grapefruit. We got to jump in and out. You never know when you might need to throw some out so you can throw some in. Yeah. Yeah.
True. You got to go clean. You want to go into the dark night.
Yeah. If you're going to go into the dark night, whitewash a brown room. That's slang. I'm sure some people know what that means. But yeah, dude, I don't know, man. Like the idea of passing away. Obviously, I think most people want to do it, peacefully, which obviously, but I mean, you'd be dead too. So like, how about this? You have 6 months to live. Somebody comes to you and says, without any legalities, here's a pill. We can't guarantee you'll be in pain if you take it, but it will end your life now. Or you can wait the 6 months, and the last month is going to be rough as shit. But you have to take it today. There we go. Yeah. So you have to take it today. Or you can not take it, and that last month is going to be the typical month that we see sometimes. What would you do?
Yeah.
Would you? Because that's a hard choice, man.
It is very hard. Because I think that last month is so bad that you would consider getting help to just transition.
Yeah.
They do it in Sweden now. More places allow it too, which is like
we should
compassionate.
Yeah.
I think it's compassionate.
I do as well. I mean, I'm gonna have to put a dog down soon because of age, and
and
we're
that
watching
sucks,
it.
Dude.
And it's like
it's
like you need to take care of the people around you.
Is it an age thing where they're getting to the?
Yeah, Loud's just been around for 14 years, and he's starting to get stoved up, and I'm just watching him constantly because it's gonna suck beyond all belief, because Ming was tough, and Ming was a tough dog, but he was tough to love. He was difficult to control dog, because remember, he was the one I would always scream at. I'd be like, Ming, what are you doing?
Absolutely.
But my wife took care of that one because, well, she I don't know why she did that one. Lau has been, since literally day one, he's been pretty much my dog. He follows me around. He's sort of like the sensitive dog. Like if I'm stressed out, he's the one going, whoa, what's wrong? Like he's definitely could have been a care dog. Yes. Like he definitely could have been a care
tuned
dog.
In.
And so I watch him because I'm like, okay, he's having trouble moving his back legs, or he's having trouble, blah, blah, blah. So you have to watch it. I feel the same way with family, because I've had family where I had to take care of grandfather who was sick as hell, as beyond belief, for a full year. And as somebody who was 8, I remember it was like, at one point, I was just like, what are we doing? Because I didn't know the rules when I was 8. I didn't know any laws or anything. And I had to ask and be like, why is this person has no clue that they're here at all? They think they're somewhere else. They're in pain, unbelievable pain. What are we doing? Like what? That was a hard lesson, because as somebody who was sick when I was a kid, I never thought about somebody. I never thought about my mom and dad being like, well, Jared's not going to fight this. We're just going to have to put Jared down. But when you get to that age where there's no help and you don't even exist in the world anymore, because he didn't, it was very rough to be like, I don't understand. And I couldn't talk to my dad because it was my dad's dad. So I talked to like a couple of family just on the side. I was like, why are we not looking into whatever we need to look into? And they're like, well, it's illegal right now. And it's not anymore, but it was illegal at the time. And I was like, oh, I understood that because people misuse it, right? That's the big worry. I'm sure a major worry is elder abuse or, but I remember going like, because I think that colored my decision of how I want to go. Because I was like, no way. I mean, I've told my wife, I'm like, listen, I'll write out a letter. I'll film it and be like, she can offer me, man. If she has to like
whatever proof you need to,
if she needs to sledgehammer me, it's like when I get to the point to where like I'm out of it or whatever, and you just know.
Yeah.
Because people hold on to hope too. They'll be like, what about this new drug for this thing? Or what about this? And it's like, what if you fixed them today of the one issue? What about the 20 others? Because age is a thing. What about the 20 others they have? Because like we're taking care of Lau and he's got a shot here and some pills there. And I'm like, okay, if one of these stops working, where's he going to be, at this particular time? Because I can guarantee you that's going to be beyond rough for me because it's like, that's like, I don't have a kid. So that's like my kid.
I mean, to say that you rarely get choked up is an understatement. I mean, you're like this Clint Eastwood adjacent person.
Not as crazy as Clint.
But, I remember that was really rough.
Yeah.
I still remember that.
Yeah, it sucked.
And it will, it will be, and the same for me, my cat is 7 years old and they can live like up to 15 or something,
very much so. Yeah.
But it really depends. You can also get unlucky and they don't live that much. So you start thinking about that and it's going to suck, but it's one of those things, man. It's part of the journey.
I definitely have a mechanism to fight it. Like I know I do. I'm not going to say what it is, but I'll start to feel like I'll be like a little, little feeling of like, uh-oh. And then I'll be like, all right. Yeah. And there's some stuff I do that gets me out of it because there'll be times where I'll think about it and be like, fuck, and then that'll just destroy you anyway. Because I also think it's a celebration. I mean, I'm not somebody who's a Viking who's going to put him on a boat and be like, Valhalla, and everybody's super happy.
Shoot a flaming arrow.
Yeah, but I'll make sure that I'll make sure it's not what I saw when I was a young kid. Because you see that. That's one of the reasons why, weirdly enough, switching back to games for a second in the gaming podcast, there's been a lot of really cool games that have covered this kind of stuff lately, or covered Alzheimer's, which unfortunately all of my family's had. So that's one of the things I'm worried about.
Had it. Yeah, it was really sad.
To be, dude.
It's beyond belief. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I mean it's rough, dude. Yeah. We're getting a little dark here.
Yeah. Well, it's just guys. Like that. No, that. Oh no. I mean,
but that's
people know we talk about it. I was just gonna say I love that games are covering it. But it's like, and that's great that they do cover it. But and I don't think I could play one because I saw that there was I don't
think so either, man.
A couple about Alzheimer's.
It's too close.
Where a person starts coming out of their house and they forget where stuff is and the world changes around them.
Yeah.
And I saw that. I saw them playing it, and I was like, first of all, phenomenal idea. One of the best ideas. Choose your own adventure that changes the adventure.
Yeah, like a subtle way to show you.
Yes.
The experience of it.
No fucking thank you. No thank you. It's like there are some things I do not need to mire myself in, and that's one of them. When I saw that game, I was like,
absolutely not.
Dude, you guys rock. It's amazing you guys can cover that, but I'm like, I've done that. I've been there, done that. I do not need to play a game, which is why I understand when some people, like I've heard some people, oh, you're a pussy because you won't play this game, or, oh, it's got this in it. I'm like, dude, I get it. Like, I actually do get it. Yes, I'm known for a certain like ways in which I talk and stuff, but I do understand where somebody else is coming from. Like, you'd have to be a real sociopath to like, not assume somebody else had a weirder experience with like a particular thing in a game, a killing, or like you'll see somebody be like, let's blow away that parent in the game because they're a bad person. And somebody who's had a parent die of a gunshot injury was with me, who was playing the game with me. And I remember playing it.
Oh, wow.
And I heard my friend go, shoot that. And I was like, nah. Like, how's my friend going to work?
Nope.
And
that's
weirdly enough, my friend killed him right away. The guy who had the dad pass away from it. And I was like, what? And he's like, here's what he said. I just didn't want to talk about it anymore. And I was like, Oh, damn. Because I thought it would be the other way around. I thought he'd be like, don't do it or whatever. He's like, I don't want this discussion. Just do it and move to the next part of the game. And I was like, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, it rarely happens, but, you know, in some of the stuff we see in games, you and I will just joke about it or whatever. And they'll be like, oh, you know what? This other person here might have that experience.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't think about it. It's cool to see that.
It can be tough.
Yeah. Yeah. What else we got before we wrap it up? I mean, we're only at 3 hours and 10 minutes. It's actually not. I felt it was way. That is long, but it's not as long as.
It's not even COD campaign length.
Yeah, we're not even at COD campaign length yet.
Yeah. I had a quick idea to finish today if you want. I have some cool scientific facts that I've selected, and you can rate them either hot, that's like cool and interesting, maybe provocative, or mild, which would be lukewarm. Doesn't even register.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one. Yeah.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah, but remind me to do this for you next week because I don't have questions up.
Yeah.
But I like this. Go for it.
We'll do that. Okay. So a neutron star spins over 700 times per second. And a piece of a neutron star is the size, that is the size of a sugar cube, would weigh about 1 billion tons on Earth.
Hot. It's one of my favorite things in the world because neutron stars, there's a couple that there's a spin speed that it absolutely cannot stay together with. But we found ones that appear to spin that fast. And now they are talking about, go look this up. It's mind blowing. There's a possibility of black hole stars.
Ooh.
Let that fuck with your brain. And they think that there's a possibility of what we're seeing is not necessarily a neutron star by itself, but a black hole inside of the neutron exterior. Or even a normal
that's
star
blowing
exterior.
My mind.
Yeah. Yeah, because people think black holes' gravity is somehow massive compared to its space. And you've heard scientists say if a black hole replaced the sun that was the same mass, there would be no change. Everything would spin. We'd freeze to death. But everything would spin identically because it's not about that. It's about the event horizon, which I always found really fascinating. But yeah, I love that one. I love neutron stars. Neutron stars are insane. 1,000 times in a second.
Crazy objects, man.
Dude, it doesn't that make your brain go, what? Like it's thousands of miles across and it spins that quickly. Yeah, it's awesome.
I wonder what that does to planets.
Oh, dude, they would shuttle off.
Could you be chilling?
No. Well, the stellar winds would fry the shit out of you. Can you imagine the amount of energy coming off that thing? You would be a briquette.
Yeah, it'd be insane, man.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. What else you got?
Okay, next one. There are more trees on Earth than stars in the Milky Way.
Yeah.
Roughly 3 trillion trees versus about 400 billion stars.
And let me add another one to that. That's hot. And sharks existed before trees existed. Boom.
No.
Yes.
No.
Go look it up.
What?
Yes. There were, at the time that the first sharks appeared, there was only grasses, shrubs, fungus. There were not trees, actual trees, before sharks existed. That's how old a shark is. That's why they're called living fossils, because they quite literally are like one of the oldest things that exists as the same.
What the hell?
Dude, that's why a shark is so perfect. Sharks didn't change. Everything else changes. Sharks are
like, because that thing just worked, man.
Dude, they have fish and sharks in cold area environments that have basically clear, thin skin and clear, thin blood because it's so cold. The blood can't be thick. It has to move super fast. Like sharks are fucking ridiculous. Their ability to translate different. You've seen the ones, I think it's Greenland, that has the like freshwater sharks that swim like a quarter of a mile an hour because of how cold it is. They don't exert a bunch of energy and they're just like, they're the sloths of the shark. They're just super slow and they're just doing their thing. Sharks are amazing.
So they're just like chilling? Basically?
Yeah, they're just super slow. And I don't even know if they're meat eating, but they are sharks nonetheless. And you can go look them up and they're like they're like lethargically slow because of the environment they're in. And so they're just
interesting.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Next one. Saturn could float in water.
Yeah.
It's the only planet in our solar system less dense than water if you had a tub big enough.
Cold because I don't like Saturn.
You
I'm
don't?
a Saturn hater. I do not know why. It's of all the planets and moons, Saturn is that friend I would never invite over. Yeah.
So the ring doesn't like
I don't know what
fascinate
it
you
is.
a
I have
bit
no clue.
with
But whenever anybody talks about Saturn, I'm like, yeah, but what about Jupiter or Uranus? Because it's doing a certain thing. Or I don't know why.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is pretty cool that would float. That it basically, that's insane. That's
kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Just like, okay. I'll do like a couple more.
Oh, do as many.
Let's see. Your brain generates about 20 watts of power, enough to power a dim light bulb. So everything in our experience, this rich tapestry of senses, electrical impulses and everything, 20 watts. My GPU is like, you know, 20 times
it uses
that
over 30% of the caloric intake, which is why you sweat when you study for a test, because you quite literally are working out, which is mind-blowing to me because I've done it. I have studied hard or thought really hard and tried to do a bunch of shit, and I'm like, whoa, I'm
on cheap noodles or whatever.
Yeah, you're like, what the hell's going on? Your brain's just like, I'm going on, bitch. But it is funny that on a 15-watt computer, we can fry our brain by looking at porn for too long. It's pretty easy to short-circuit that bitch. But yeah, it's crazy.
But isn't it weird that so the neural networks from LLMs and stuff are maybe doing something similar to what our brain is doing with the networks? But we can do it with 20 watts and they do it with like super.
So weirdly enough, that is mistaken. So the transformer,
like a misrepresentation.
The transformer model, because it's points in graph space, people think it's like neurons on the brain, but actually there are new LLMs coming that are based neural net styled. They won't be called transformer. That are actually more based on that.
Okay.
Yeah. But
so they're not
I do
really
like the idea.
Like
transformer works better for you and I to understand, but the more you study it, the more you realize it's like whenever anybody says AGI, you know, your overall artificial intelligence, most people have already changed that now because they're like, it's already passed the Turing test. Like but it's not intelligent in the way, I don't think it ever will be. I think the human brain, I know people say it's the most complex. It is super complex, obviously. It's more complex than anything else. But I don't think a thing needs to think identically to us to appear to be just as or more intelligent than us. I don't necessarily know if we need, you'll hear people say, oh, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, but at the same time, you also say, why does any alien race need to be us? We're creating aliens technically. If you think about it. And at some point, if we get something that's like, dude, this thing thinks, does everything, appears to have everything else. Sometimes you just have to call it what it is and be like, yeah, it's intelligent. It's just not based in the same format we are. Brains are cool, though, man. The amount of shit that you can do with one is awesome. What else we got?
I got 2 more facts for you today. Number 1, ants don't sleep. They take short power naps, totaling about 4 hours a day, spread across hundreds of micro rests.
Oh my God, so I did see that one time where they pause,
micro power nap.
Dude, that is fucking awesome. They also breathe through their carapace, but dude, or they don't breathe, but they get their oxygen through. Dude, I think I saw that like on a Discovery Channel where it showed them like going and going.
Boom, boom. No, I'm good.
Again, dude, ants are scary, man. Ants, like if ants decided, hey, you know what? We got to throw these bitches off the mantle of the earth, they'd probably win very quickly. Like that's awesome. Yeah, I didn't remember that. That's crazy. I love that shit. That's so cool.
And last fact of the day here. Lightning strikes the earth 8 million times per day. Each bolt is 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun.
That's pretty hot too.
8 million days.
It's hot as a scientific fact, but it's also crazy that something can be that hot. And I used to think
that hot. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to think that if something was that hot, it irradiate, but it's the size of it not being able to. But yeah, I used to always be like, dude, wait, how is that possible? Because you would think it would like,
wouldn't it just turn into lava or like turn the ground into
Yeah, or the fact
I guess
that,
it's also very brief, right? Because it's a
that's what I mean. Yeah,
it's a
very
flash
brief, very
of a
small.
second.
Yeah. The other cool one that so tongue in the future, the only really truly unique identifiable part of the human body is the tongue, and tongue prints could replace thumb prints. Because did you know that koala bears have human style thumb prints and can confuse forensic scientists?
Really?
Yeah, so they were looking at
the ultimate murder.
The ultimate murder, dude. That koala
the print of a,
with his little koala poop. No, but I mean, you could use, because of the tongue, the shape, the structure of the blood density. They were saying it's the most unique part of the human body for like an easy, like a tongue print in the future or something like that, where you could.
Wow.
But yeah, so I actually do have some. Let's look at this. Let's think. So so koalas. That was one I read recently. All right. Maybe
you got a lot of these like science facts in your brain.
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember ones we haven't talked about that are always like that are always so crazy that like sometimes when I hear them, my brain is like, dude, I can't.
Yeah,
like, is that
it can't
true?
be. Yeah, you gotta double check that. Like,
yeah, it's so. I mean, it's so nuts. Like bee stuff. Anything about bees is really fascinating to me. Especially because if bees collapse, we're done. Like
we're completely screwed,
done.
Right?
Yeah. So our handyman was a beekeeper, and he had bee colony collapse. And I think that's when I first heard about it. It was about like 13 years ago or something. I heard Oregon got hit a bit, and then I started looking into it, and I was just like, oh shit, like we're done. I mean, and I don't mean like we've died tomorrow. I just mean food shit would collapse until we figured out a way to replace it. And by that point, you never know. If you'd be able to. I mean, they're already using drones to like try to fertilize stuff. Oh, did you also know that a bee's eyes are made specifically to see pollen? And so I don't know if you've ever done this, but I have birds in my backyard, and I've always been completely confused how if I throw seeds out at night, I'll come out in the morning and the birds are there. And I'm like, okay, They must be calling to each other, right? That was my assumption, was one would see it, and they do. But what I found out was just like an eagle with insane vision, their brains are absolutely insanely sensitive to that particular shape and those particular things. So they see it and they're like, those are seeds. Those aren't bark. Because I throw mine in the bark. I have a bark dust for the dogs, or chipped bark. And
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, they can find those things like among the grass where it's basically not visible.
Yeah, I just had never.
They're just selected to.
I just had never thought about it. It was just absolutely crazy. Yeah. The animal world stuff's always the best. Like, I always love that. Like a mammal will usually have, how does it go? It's usually, a mammal will usually have the 1/2 the number of nipples as babies. So a human will have one baby average. A cat will have 1/2, and that's to make sure that there's a nipple that is always has milk to produce for the animal. And I thought that was impressive, and why a lot of vets and a lot of people who do animal stuff will say, don't always take a kitten and give it to a mom if the mom already has half the number of babies for nipples, because you can actually ruin the amount of milk for all of the cats, and you should actually take it to the vet and figure out if it needs formula or if that cat's safe enough, or if you should augment, which I always thought was sort of fascinating, that nature was like 1/2. So if you have one nipple, half a kid. What if you have 50 nipples, 25 kids? SB Starvin, $5 super chat. I'm at Target right now and I don't see Xbox anymore. So it's true. Stores pull out Xbox products. Our Target has Xbox. I literally saw them yesterday. So I don't know. I wouldn't doubt. I don't know if they're pulling them. Microsoft isn't making them anymore, though. I know that much. Vapor Blood says male stoneflies perform push-ups to attract a mate. So do I. Dude, I love that, though. I love them. I did. But I do love the idea of the male fly landing and being like,
just
Jack. Look at this shit. I can do this on top of you.
How you doing?
Long. Yeah, how you doing? Look at this shit. I love
just
that.
Pumping. Yeah, it's great.
Dude, some of the crazy stuff with different birds and how they like show off plumage and stuff like that. And you'll see them dance and, to attract a mate. Or the idea that like moths, when they have the signatures on their back to look like a bird of prey, so other birds won't try to eat them because they think they're a bird of prey, but it's really just a moth's wings. I always love that kind of stuff, man. Nature's got some crazy shit. Nature's also got some terrifying shit, but I mean, For the most part, I'm always impressed with like the pretty stuff because that's just easier to accept.
Dude, I appreciate the hell out of you. I gotta go.
Yeah, that's
take
what I was
a
gonna
large pee.
Oh, I was hoping you said pee, man. I was hoping.
Yeah, no, it is.
If it's anything else, just pretend it's pee. Anyway, yeah, that'll be it for us. If you guys get a chance, check out the podcast every Friday. As always, you're here. You'll see it on Spotify and iTunes in about an hour. And then you'll also see the side podcast that's done by me Tuesday, Wednesday, and next week. There's 1, 2, 3 reviews coming. So that'll be it for us. Check out the Patreon if you can. We'd appreciate it. It helps. Peace out and enjoy the rest of your week.
See ya.
Good timing, because that's what I was just going to say. I was like, okay, we'll wrap it up. So